What up, everybody? It's Tuesday night. You know where to be. Hockey Happy Hour coming at you. Brand new episode tonight. Little bit of a different show tonight, I think. Little thing that I don't usually like to do, but since I'm doing the emails now, I can make it up. We can have some fun tonight. Do we have a goaltender controversy in Philadelphia? Do we? We're going to discuss that. That's pretty much going to be the main topic of our show tonight here. We're going to dive into this real deep. And then we're going to talk around the league. We got some other stuff on tap with our shootout portion of the show. So we got a lot to get to. Let's get at it. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and let's go.
Oh my God! I'm embarrassed! You're flying!
Welcome in. It's almost time.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new radio. I am Tsudi along with the Darkwing Brian Daly.
What up? What up?
And the broken one himself, Rob Povia.
I'm not a smart man, but I know who the future of the Flyers is.
Okay.
I'm never going to laugh at you motherfuckers. Damn it.
That is not true. You got to laugh out of me more than anybody else. You do not have the same warped sense of humor.
Anyway, we are live to Philadelphia Flyers and their string of victories that they've had last 5, and that has resulted in us having to question a few things. Possibly. We'll dive. But first, we are sponsored by none other than the doc, Dr. Paul Vidal over at Special Physical Therapy. Pains that you wish to get taken care of, all you got to do is go online to www.specialized physical therapy and go see him either in Cherry Hill or Burlington, New Jersey. And the doc will take care of you. He's got it there, and any aches and pains you have, it'll be gone before you know it. So, the poll question for tonight, as always, brought to you by a big special party of some kind, or if you just want to have yourself have some good bread, Baggio's is the place to go. It's not just bread that they also have. They also have salmon pies, and they have cutlets, meatballs, and if you mention A2D, you get 10% off of your order. So if you're in the Mount Laurel area, you're not too far away. If you live in, say, like Maple Shade, like it's only about a town away. So it's very easy to get to. Head on over to Baggio's Bread. Tell them A2D sent you, get 10% off, and get yourself some good food for you and the family for your celebration. All right, then. Question is, as Brian alluded to at the early portion of the intro there, and so forth, is Samuel Ersson the future of the Philadelphia Flyers? Agree or disagree? Ersson had himself quite a nice little shutout and on that West Coast swing. So, gentlemen, is it possible that Carter Hart's got some competition here in between the pipes? Take it away.
Robbie, you want to go first there, buddy?
Sure, man. I'll jump in. And for this, I'm going to put up my my avatar for a little bit to get my boys back. That's number 79, Carter Hart. I absolutely disagree with this poll. Carter Hart is still the future of this organization in goal. Look, I'm not taking anything away from what Ersson has accomplished in his first taste of the NHL, but the pedigree is not even close. Ersson was a 5th-round pick, 143rd overall, while Hart was a 2nd-round pick, 48th overall. Not saying a 5th rounder can't supersede a 2nd rounder, but I feel Hart's entire body of work stemming all the way back to juniors is better than Ersson's. However, Ersson can supplant Sandstrom in the Flyers' goalie pecking order, and he may have already with that shutout against Buffalo, boys.
Yeah. I'm actually going to disagree with this as well, but for a completely different reason. I think the Flyers are in a phenomenal situation right now where they have not one, but two goaltenders that could be the future of this organization. Now, if we're looking at the big picture here of the NHL. If you look at some of these playoff teams, they have a really solid goaltending tandem. Now, some of them haven't won a cup yet, but you've seen a lot of success with the goaltending tandem when it works. And I think it could work for the Flyers here because Carter Hart, like Robbie was just saying, Carter Hart's body of work his work ethic is second to none. I mean, you don't always see it in games, but again, a lot of that also comes from how the team's playing in front. Now, my big thing with Ersson is who has he played yet? That's my big thing. He played one contender and got absolutely smoked for 5 goals. He got the no decision, but he got smoked for 5 goals against the Carolina Hurricanes. And then he went ahead and he played San Jose, which I would say he kind of struggled against them. He played a solid game, but he kind of struggled. San Jose was able to take it to overtime. But is he getting better as these games are going? Absolutely. Gave up 2 goals to the Kings, gave up another goal to Anaheim, which isn't really that hard to do. I could give up only 1 goal to Anaheim right now. And then he shut out the Buffalo Sabres, who, in my opinion, is an overachieving hockey team. You take Tage Thompson out of that lineup right now, and what's Buffalo? They're the same average team they were before. Now, the only thing that I will say about Buffalo is because of Tage Thompson, they are one of the highest scoring teams in the league because of that young stud. But, if you're putting, what was it? Maybe a month ago, everybody was saying Flyers need to lose. Flyers need to lose. Now we're all saying trade Carter Hart so we can win. This is getting ridiculous here. We need to figure out what we're doing here. And to me, it's you hold on to both. Ersson is cementing his job as a backup. And if you have him as a backup to Carter Hart, that takes a lot of pressure off of him. And then maybe he plays a little bit better. You didn't see it against Toronto, unfortunately, but you saw it against Arizona. Carter Hart looked great against Arizona. Now the Toronto game, that's a whole nother story. I put half the blame on Carter Hart for that. That Toronto game was just a mess, and we'll recap that a little bit later on in the show. But to me, I disagree. I think you got a great goaltending tandem here, and I think the Flyers utilize it right. You're going to see some more wins coming up here because as a team, as a whole team right now, for the most part, they're playing really well. And if they can get the goaltending to come around, if they can get Carter Hart to come back around and find a little consistency, this team can make some noise.
All right. I'm going to disagree to this. Just because Ersson had a good string of games doesn't mean anything. He had a very good stream of games. I'm not taking that away from him. I like what I saw from him. It's good to see. But could he do that through a full 82? I don't know. That's, whereas I feel like Hart could, and Hart's been able to prove that it's been with Hart has been, people would say consistency issues. I understand where that comes from. He's had his moments where he's doubted himself. The team shit in front of him. And so that didn't help anything. So, again, putting all that into perspective, I think Hart's still, I still think Hart's more than proven that he is the starter for the future. Ersson, could he be the guy to go to if Hart's having an off night or if they need to give him a rest? Maybe he is. Maybe we could say, hey, listen, we're gonna give you the pipes for a little bit. You take it and you run with it. And that'll be his spot. Okay, fine. You always need a solid back. Be our solid backup. But it's Hart. I don't think Ersson sure of this team. I think he has a potential backup position waiting for him. It's still hard at the end of the day. I think that, and anybody who thinks that, it's time to move on, no. Ersson is still, like what he is. Like you say, in a stretch of games, we still don't know what he is. As much as we think that he's a backup or a starter, I don't know. We're kind of just seeing him for the first time, really. So, and it's a rough year to be brought up as a goaltender and be said, hey, you want to start some games? I'm like, sure, why not? Just score 30 on me, why not? Decent enough job, I think. But at the same time, Carter's proven a lot more. Carter's done an amazing job for the Flyers. So again, it's still Hart's all the way.
Right. And I agree with you, Maddie, on that regard. I mean, Hart's done it at the NHL level with this team in Philadelphia. Yeah, he gives up 6 goals against Toronto Maple Leafs, and everybody's talking a goalie controversy now. Toronto Maple Leafs, a pretty damn good team that can score, when there's a lack of defense and a poor power play to match them in that game. But, looking back at Ersson, I mean, he is 23 years old, Maddie, and he's played in some tough leagues up in the Sweden high leagues, as well as Sweden 1 and the Sweden junior leagues, and he's never put up a goals against average above 296. You're talking some save percentages over 900 as well. So I mean, he's done it internationally. He's only had 23 games at the AHL level, and so far, basically about a 280 goals against and a 900 save percentage. So a little dip down from the Sweden league. I agree with you. I think, that he could be a qualifiable backup with this organization. But what I like is that it could be a guy that pushes Hart to be his very best. And you always need that in any goalie tandem, whether one's getting the lion's share of the play or not.
No, I do. I absolutely agree with you there, Robbie. And the one thing that Maddie failed to mention, because I agree with both of y'all. The one thing that we're failing to mention too is there's not a lot of tape on this kid yet, so teams haven't been able to adjust. And again, I know that he's faced a majority of the bottom tier teams. You could argue the Kings, you could argue Buffalo. I get the arguments on both sides of those teams, but let's be real. They're not top tier. They're not a cup contender. We saw what happened when he faced a cup contender in his NHL debut. And I get NHL debut nerves, all that. I get all that. But he got smoked. He got lit up for 5 goals in that game. But now that they're starting to get more and more film on this kid, people are going to be able to make the teams are going to be able to make the adjustments. And how is he going to be able to adjust to the teams making adjustments to him? That's my question. Also, how he handles himself in any kind of adversity. Again, if we're going to use the Carolina game as an example, he didn't really. But again, that was his NHL debut, so he gets a little bit of slack for that. Let's see what he does against a team like Toronto. Let's see what he does against a complete team like Colorado, where they're rolling 4 complete lines at him constantly. Feeling the pressure that Carter Hart took against Toronto. I think he lets up 6 goals as well, if not maybe more. But time will tell. This kid's got a lot to learn. We got a lot to learn about this kid and what he is as a goaltender in the NHL. But, I mean, so far, you can't be mad at the situation that the Flyers are in right now. You have a franchise goal. I know some people are going to say otherwise, but you have a franchise goalie in Carter Hart who's about to slip into his prime. And if Sam Ersson turns into, we'll use Rob's term here, a qualified backup, the Flyers are in great shape goaltending-wise. And when was the last time that anybody's been able to say that? I don't think this is a controversy at all. I think this is a blessing.
Yeah, it's been a while
for the Flyers. This could be a blessing. And even if Felix Sandstrom turns into half the goaltender that they expected him to be at the NHL level, you got 3 goaltenders there. And I would trade Sandstrom away. And
I was going to say, you got some trade pieces too to try to fill up holes as you're rebuilding this thing, and then you still have that Russian goaltender too in the pipeline if you ever get his services.
Yeah, I was going to say if he ever gets out of Russia,
right?
But yeah, I mean, this isn't a situation to sit there and say, "Oh, we got to trade Carter Hart. We got to trade." No, this is a situation where you're in a great position. Not many teams can say that right now. You know, you got. I mean,
Right.
look at what happened to Pittsburgh. They had the tandem and they won a cup. You know, they're the exception to the rule here. You know, most teams' backups are old, washed-up players. You know, Colorado might be another exception. I mean, look at Tampa Bay. I love Brian Elliott. I love Moose, but he's washed up. He's old. He's a backup. Look at Seattle. They got Martin Jones, although this might be he might be a bad example because he's actually played pretty well in Seattle. Look at the Kings. Jonathan Quick, who's the backup there? It was Cal Pedersen. I don't even know who their backup is right now. I don't even know if it's Cal Pedersen because I know he got sent down. I don't know if he ever came back up. It's a great situation here for the Flyers. And I think the people that are looking to trade Carter Hart or start any kind of controversy here, you're a casual fan and you have nothing better to do with your life because you're bored.
Right. I saw that talk going down the groups and I was like, stop it. Stop it.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this, though. I think Martin's deal because he doesn't want to get sent back to Philadelphia. He's just like, please, God, don't send me back to Philly. It was one of the worst years of my life having to play for the Flyers that year because it was not a good season. It was the worst 20 years. And see what they are talking about here. Swoopy's here saying hi. What's up, Swoopy's? Also saying
What up,
Carter
Swoopy?
Hart, Rob. No. Yeah, Carter Hart, not Rob Ersson. Anthony's saying, hey guys, what's up, Anthony? Ted saying also another rumor, Provy to the Kings. I've not heard about that, although I have heard that there have been talks about moving Provy because of the frustrations he continues to bring up in the Flyers organization.
Maddie, real quick, I read an article today by Mike Gill, a guy I used to work with down at 97.3 in Atlantic City. And he was writing about I forget the name of the podcast. I want to say it's like but it's the one with Elliot Friedman, and they were talking about that trade rumor for Ivan Provorov to the LA Kings as being one of the locations, but certainly that this team may want to, move on from Provy because you got a lot of good guys that you've committed to on the left side of this defense, and Travis Sanheim, Cam York, so on and so forth, even in the pipeline with Samula and others. So, it makes a lot of sense. Unfortunately, they always, there was the talk last year that Provy was, a big finger pointer, so if they're trying to clean this thing up, maybe that's twofold sort of agenda there. But, you got to break some eggs if you're rebuilding. So.
And the Kings need the defensive help,
as
too.
they say, Joker once said, you can't make an album without breaking some eggs. So, I mean, naturally, you got to do what you got to do. All right. Let's see here. Anthony saying Sam Ersson better than Carter Hart. Okay, Anthony. But we all know his favorite player. Swoopy also saying, Jake, what's going on, brother? He's saying, what's up, boys? I disagree with the poll, but Sam has been a very nice surprise. He has done nothing but surprise. And let's see. So we were saying Ersson. And just saying we will get rid of her. That's what I was thinking too, for anybody who wants to get rid of Carter Hart. Like, yeah, watch him go win like 2 or 3 Vesnas with another team and watch us and wondering, oh wow, we could have had him and he could have been doing amazing for us. Like, yep. So what happens when you have idiots running your organization? Saying, how the hell is TK not an all-star? I've been asking myself that question too. He's at a very, and yet they picked Kevin Hayes. I'm not trying to knock Hayes. Hayes has been good this year too, but I'm I think if anyone to start out, it was TK this year for the Flyers. So I'm a little suspect on that All-Star pick for the from the league right there.
I mean, for me, the All-Star game doesn't matter anyway. A lot of the players think it's a joke anyway.
That's true.
It's got a nice setup, though, man. If you put some thought through it, don't worry, Joe. I blast them with my hot.
Saying that. Oh yeah. What were you gonna say, Ron?
I blast the NHL on my hot take about the All-Star selection. Go on. in the shootout.
Oh, okay. It's brutal when defending players one-on-one. No, you're right. Provy has not sad. See, he's been a rough to watch at times, and he continues to be rough to watch. It's just one of those things. And then we hear the stories about him being a problem in the locker room and being a bit of a diva, and it's like, Christ, man. Like, kid, you ain't got any right to have an ego. Yeah. It's like there are some players who've league that have had egos the size of freaking Philadelphia. But you know what? A lot of them could back it the fuck up. So you know what? All right, they had an ego. Guess what? When they hit the ice, they got results. The fuck have you done over the last, 6 years? You know? It's like you have no room to have an ego, kid. So I can understand if there's frustrations there and then on play, which is the main culprit to getting rid of him. There's a bad attitude if you get the right person in the locker room, kind of end that, but play. You got to move on from that at some point. When you got the talent like we were talking about with Anaheim and New York and such like that, go. Maybe more York than Anaheim, but Mike Flaherty, what's up, Mike? I haven't seen him in a little bit.
Mike the commish. What's up, man?
Yes, a swoop saying Timu. John Malmo saying stupidity in Philadelphia once again for Hart. Hey, he's washed up, starts laughing. He says, OMG, stop. Hart's only 24 years. Yeah, that's people for you. And Dylan saying, yo, fam, greetings from Vegas. Disagree to the poll. Carter Hart's the guy. And
our
saying,
fam that tunes in, Maddie, are smart.
With his
facts.
They are. And he's also saying, go Flames go. Lucic, 4th goal this season. Wow, Lucic is having himself quite a year with his 4th goal. That's impressive for him. Let's see. Anthony's saying, I like having both as goalies for the future. Is everything else like not scoring when Carter Hart is in net, but the problem is the same. Still holding on to the puck instead of shooting. Well, as normal, that's the habit for Flyers teams. Let's see. Swoop saying nailed it on the head, Robbie, what you were talking about earlier. Then it said defense. People agreeing are fair weather Flyers or hockey fans, like in 06 when McNabb got hurt, who wanted the team to make Jeff Garcia the guy. There's a name you haven't heard in a while for all the Eagles fans out there. Oh. Let's see here. And also goes on to say, don't you seriously consider him over Hart? If Hart is kicked out of the NHL, if he's found guilty in that case, no one is talking about him. Well, that we haven't heard anything about. We'll have to wait and see. With any investigation on that one, I haven't heard any conclusions to that or any conclusions to his portion of it, honestly. See here. As Konechny's and feelings on him this year. My feelings on Konechny, I'm cautiously optimistic. I think, and that's an improvement. That's an improvement from where my feelings were last year. Last year, I felt that he was he was finally starting to pick up his game when it didn't matter. And it's like, yeah, now you put the effort in when it doesn't fucking matter at this point. But I feel like now it's like, okay, maybe he's finally figured out, maybe he's starting to piece it back together. I'm cautiously optimistic where my feelings are with Konechny. I hope that this year is finally okay. We went through that with him. That's not what he is. The outlier was that second year he had in the league where he was killing it. This will be the year that rebounds and he starts to continue in the right trajectory. And next year he has another really solid year. I'm hoping that that's what we get out of TK next year. Next year is really going to be the determining factor for where, me at least, in terms of him. But I'm cautiously optimistic. I really hope that this is where we're going forward now, and that he's
I agree,
have
Maddie.
this season next.
I agree, Maddie, with TK. And then in regard to the other comment I was talking about, Hart potentially being implicated with the Canadian Team Juniors being implicated in a sexual assault case, that's all the more reason to have goaltender depth.
That's true. That's true. Because if it turns out that there's something really bad with that, yeah, then you're going to have to make a tough decision there. Because it is what. Let's see here. David McLeod saying, Hart is clearly the number. Fedotov is more touted than Ersson, and we haven't seen him yet. True. We just haven't had a chance because Russia doesn't want to give up its players. It's like the Soviet Union all over again. I mean, they are. Eric Wisniewski saying, I love Hart, but the Flyers are in rebuild mode, so make it. I'd rather have Hart here for 15 years. Flyers might have legit tan come. Possibly.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. Let's see here. Ted saying, if we had Irsay in the bubble, we probably win that series versus we win that series. Moose was a guaranteed loss. I mean, I don't think the Flyers were just handling it. They made some adjustments, but I don't even really think it was goaltending that buried the Flyers there. The Islanders just really figured out how to shut the Flyers down.
Yeah. No, that's the truth. But I get his ultimate point is that if you had a better tandem in place and it was an accelerated schedule being in the bubble under those, time crunch restraints from the pandemic. So a better tandem might have brought you a little further, maybe stopped a few more shots. But in the end, just to the reason you just said, Maddie, was the reason why they lost, not the goaltending.
Right. And I mean, I don't play one game in that whole series, and Hart played pretty much everything else, and they did the best they could, and Hart did very well in that series. It's just, again, it was the team that lost that series. Outplayed. They were outplayed by the Isles. Simple as that. They're not the first team that's been outplayed by the Isles, unfortunately. They probably won't be the last. Let's see here. Phoenix Copley is the King starter now. Ah, that's who the starter is. Let's see here. Eric also says, training hard now. We'll move on here to Swoop. Oh, man. That's good. David saying 32 thoughts.
Yeah, that was the name of the podcast that I was talking about.
Oh, with LA. Gotcha. Yeah. And let's see. Zamula will never be a consistent top four. Too nice, too passive on the ice. And let's see, we got Mean Metal Mike saying, "How about we get Flower in Philly?" Well, that'd be weird.
Oh, he's not coming to Philly anyway. He wants to win. He deserves one more cup.
Yeah.
Clock's ticking.
Very much.
Yeah. It's getting toward that portion of it. Well, that'd be very weird to see Fleury in a Flyers jersey. Let's see here. And Mean Metal Mike saying Hart's better despite his numbers. And here's Ted. Ted saying, "Would you trade Proby to Seattle for Shane Wright? Still probably can't handle him. Torts would be perfect for him." I mean, honestly,
that ain't happening, bro. Which is actually really funny that he brings that up because he actually just got traded in juniors. In the OHL. He just got traded for, I think they said it's like 19 picks or something like that. Or 9 picks. Sorry, not 19. He got traded for 9 picks in juniors.
honestly, that tells you a lot about how he's had attitude issues and why he was the drafts. So it adds a lot more credence to that. This is Mean Metal Mike that said, "Does TK deserve the captain's role?" No. I don't think anyone has earned captain yet. We're still working on that.
Certainly making a great debate for himself. He's certainly making a great debate for himself right now.
In the candidate. He is. I like that, but I wouldn't give it to him yet. I want hit. If anything, if that's the carrot, I'm dangling that shit still. I'm like, oh no. You're not going to play great this year to get the captain's. Oh no. No. You're still competing for it with Hayes and with when he gets back, and who knows when Atkinson plays well. You're competing with them. Hell, you're even competing with Lawton. You are nowhere near that captain right now.
No, you keep going the rest of the season without a captain, and you let these guys continue to battle it out, see who steps up. But to me, right now, TK is the leader. Like Cam Atkinson's out of the conversation. Kevin Hayes could be out of the conversation for me. Right now, it's between him and Lawton. You know, TK's presence on the ice is felt right now. He's got a 9-game point streak. So he's being that leader on the ice that he needs to be. And I'm sure he's being that vocal leader that he needs to be in the locker room. I mean, after the Toronto game, he held the entire team accountable for that monstrosity of a game. You know, obviously nobody showed up. 0 for 4 on a power play. Offensively, they were a fucking mess. He held himself and the team accountable, basically saying we need to be better. So for me, that's a huge step forward. And I think under Torts is not going to let TK let up after seeing what we're seeing. He's on pace to be a 40-goal scorer. He's at, 19 now?
Great.
We're halfway through.
I love that. Great. I'm not taking any of that away from him. I love that. But still, not yet. I want to see if he can. No,
you don't name him this year. You name a captain next year. You see who steps up this year. And right now, to me, he's the guy. There's nobody else on this roster right now that I would give it to. I would consider Lawton, but right now it's TK. He's my leader.
Question for you boys. If the Flyers draft anybody but Bedard, could that draft pick have a shot at being the Flyers' next captain in the first round? That is.
Ooh. I mean, it depends on who it is. It all depends on where they pick. Honestly, for me, I mean, obviously, we all know that there's good talent coming out of this draft. I mean, I would give it to somebody who's a little bit more established, personally, unless it is Connor Bedard. I mean, Anthony Fantilli is going to be a great player. I don't know if he's captain yet, but Leo Carlson maybe could be. Again, I haven't seen much of these guys really play. Or at least I should say I haven't seen them play enough to really know if they got that leadership capability. He used to say even Connor Bedard even has that leadership capability. So, I mean, we'll see. Time will tell, my friend. Time will tell.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's not so sure. I would wait and see, because Flyers are in a weird place, unlike other than Arizona, where it's like they're begging for a captain. So I would say it's more of a wait and see situation with the Flyers.
Who would you rather, Maddie?
Let's see here. All right. I missed Rob's question. He asked for actually.
It got lost in the stratosphere. I like me Metal Matt's comment here.
I love it.
Will Ovechkin get Gretzky's record broken? Yes. There's no debate in that. Yeah, he's already passed through Gordie Howe, so it's only a matter of time. All right. So, David McLeod saying, if Fletcher moves Provy, I guarantee he loses the deal, and by a wide margin. We don't have another comparable D or prospect that can play top pairing. When Provy plays with an offensive D, he sits back, take the reins off of him, play him to top power play, and he'll excel.
I like it. So my takeaway on this comment from David here is put him with the defensive-minded defenseman or more of a two-way style. Let him play up, let the other defenseman play back, and then maybe you kind of fix a little bit of that issue. But with where the Flyers are, I mean, I would move Provy because he's got the value. You might be able to get a draft pick this year if you trade him to the right team.
I think Torch tried that with putting Risto with because that's why it was peculiar. It wasn't exactly like Risto was playing lights out, and all of a sudden he's top T pair with Provy. And again, saw Provorov get beat a lot because he's in between. Should I be up or should I be back? He's in his head a lot. Not saying that could change. That could change.
Yeah, I mean we've seen Provy play at a high level with guys like Matt Niskanen, and he played really well for those 4 games with Ryan Ellis. But if you put another player like that with him, Provy doesn't bother me. But I mean, I'm also on board with moving him and trying to get as many draft picks as you can in this specific draft to bring in some more talent. This is a loaded draft. We keep saying it's a loaded draft. Let's get assets, get some of these contracts off the books, and let's just get the young guys in, get the young guys up.
Let's see. John saying, better yet, sell the team, fire the GM. Mike Hayes saying, will Ovechkin get Gretzky's record? We won.
Yeah, I think this is Metal Mike.
Cool.
Oh, okay. So, hey, what's up, Mike, on both sides, Facebook and YouTube? Yeah, both sides of it. Nice. So, I've been a Flyers fan since I was born in 1995. Oh, nice, man. So, you got to
old,
at least enjoy some.
Let me go get my walker real quick. Hang on.
I'm going to go get Just for Men. I'll be right back.
Go get my Rogaine. Hang on.
Mike the P4 to the Cup with Roman Cechmanek in net. Well, Roman Cechmanek was a head case in the playoffs. I mean, fine during the regular season. Don't know what the hell happened during the playoffs.
He was a head case, period. The dude was a nut.
He was.
Good goalie, though.
The guy literally did the header save. So, I mean, but then again, most goalies are a little off kilter. That normally you do for your goalie. All right. Let's see here. Ted saying, that's why we got to trade now. He wants to get paid money he shouldn't get. He's a second liner on a Cup team, sell high. Wow, he wants to trade TK right off the bat. I mean, if you do trade TK, then I think we can officially say it's like, all right, so you're blowing those players that I would have kept. But that's just me.
I mean, I get it. Value's high. I get it. I'm not for it, but I get it. I mean, it makes sense to try and make a move with a guy like TK right now. But, I mean, he's arguably your best player on your roster right now. And in a situation where you want to try and you know, hope create as much chemistry as possible and get this team to put together a winning culture in the locker room. And right now, TK, to me, is a part of that nucleus. And I don't know if I would move on from him. I would try and move on from some of these other guys first. And if you can get like a deal that like really like wows this organization, then maybe you pull the trigger on a TK move. But for right now, I'm holding on to the 25-year-old potential 40-goal scorer.
I figured out the reason why Kevin Hayes got elected an all-star over TK. The league, the operations department that chooses one player from each team, wasn't sure TK would still be a Flyer by the all-star game.
Oh, that could be. Oh, I like that. I like that conspiracy theory.
See, there's a whole other side of this story. There's a whole other side of this story we don't realize. Yeah, there we go. Rob's the Nancy Drew here.
I like Hardy Boys better.
Oh yeah,
I know, but I've
Team Extreme, baby, Lita all day. Wait,
all right.
Hardy Boys, not Lita. My bad.
Wrong, Hardy Boys. Dated me above you now, so now we know the pecking order in terms of age on the show.
Oh damn! You were talking about the books. You were talking about the detective. Oh shit! I'm just gonna listen, guys.
He said Nancy Drew, so I was like, I like.
I was paying attention. Sorry, I'm gonna see my way out, guys. I'll see you guys later.
Team Extreme.
Let's see myself out. See you guys next week.
So what's up, Lil Yao? What's up, Lil Yao? They said they blew it when they didn't trade Coots. Carter must be traded. I don't know. Carter must be traded. That's a little. Coots. I don't know. You trade Coots away. Like he was the guy that you know. He's still a really great player. You know, he's had his injury problems. That's what's really been causing him issues. Although,
you want him to build up.
I will say this. I would honestly say, though, injuries are his biggest problem. The one negative thing about him that you can bring up all the time. Everything else is great. He just gets hurt a lot, and that's a problem. Let's see here. Mike Hayes saying, Mike, love you, brother, but I pray to God that is not the case. There were some great things about Cechmanek, but there were some really bad things about Cechmanek. There's a reason why he only lasted 3 seasons with the Flyers. There's a reason.
He's a lunatic.
All right. Yeah.
He was a
Well, here's the
lunatic.
Well, here's the fun fact. What other team did Roman Cegmanek play for in the NHL? There's only one other team. He played for the Flyers, and he played for this
Kings.
team, and then they found out, okay, Roman's done here in the NHL. What you guys say?
He played for the Kings.
Oh.
Yep, he played for the Kings. And then that's when they found out, oh, okay, the Flyers didn't get rid of him because the Flyers are bad. It's bad. Okay, never mind. That was a mistake.
I remember because he had a badass helmet when he was with the Kings. His mask was like, he had a fantastic mask. It's the only reason why I remember he played for the Kings.
Right. This was back when the Kings went back to that. They had that. What was it? Kind of blue and black color that they had going on. They had the coat of arms on the jersey, and or that cool like Millennium crown they had going on. That was it.
Yeah, it was
Set
a
of jerseys
purple and
they
black.
had back
It was
then.
purple and black.
Right. Yeah, let's see here.
When Dustin Brown came,
And they started Morgan because and Wayne Simmons and one of the Kings.
Braden Shen.
And they're saying,
I forgot Braden Shen was a king too.
To be, yeah. Am I starting to be? He was. Then he became a Flyer, and then he found his game in St. Louis. So I think more was a blue than anything else. But anyway, let's see here. Anthony's saying, am I starting to be a Morgan Frost fan because he is playing hard? Same with Farabee playing hard too. Hey, listen, Frost, we were Robbie and everybody was calling his ass out for lack of effort, and all of a sudden, it's like he was listening. It's like he watches the show or something. And if you do, Frosty, thank you very much. But whether he is or he isn't, all of a sudden he stepped the fuck up and he said, you know what? I am worth being on this team. Farabee's been solid. I think he's had his moments where he's had Farabee's been, in my opinion, pretty level-headed for the most part that he's been on the Flyers. He's stepped up when he's had to. He's had his rough patches, but I think he recovers from them pretty well for the most part from Farabee's game.
Yeah, I think Frosty's line, he's really stepped up, and I think they finally found a good line combination for him, and we're seeing a production from him and Farabee. So I think those two are a good match together, and I think for as long as you keep them together.
Yeah, good fit, and if we're calling him out, you damn well know Torts was calling him out in practice. So I think you can give a lot of credit there again to John Tortorella for guys like Frost and Farabee stepping up their game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Mike saying the Arizona Coyotes are a young up-and-coming team with potential. Well, that's the thing, Mike. Arizona's been a young up-and-coming team with potential for a few times, and
15
they
years.
have botched it multiple times. So, yeah.
They've been a young up-and-coming team since they came into the league.
Much since they left Winnipeg and went to the desert. So
2057, the year of the Coyote.
Yeah. We'll all be dead by that point.
Oh my! Right. But here's the funny part. Well, the original Coyotes, it'll be the new Coyotes because these Coyotes team will somehow. So even when they're successful, this organization is still not successful. All right. On to Eric saying, do you guys feel Frost should be here next season? I feel he's showing promise. I think Frost will probably still be here next year. Don't see him leaving, anyway. And his contract's done. Yeah. So, yeah, I still see him being here.
I do now.
Yeah, same. I was about to say
2010.
that. He's been playing now. I'm not trading him right now.
Yeah.
Unless I get wowed. I'd like at least a second.
No,
rounder
you'd be
for him.
foolish to.
I would like it. I would want at least a second rounder for him, and maybe a mid-tier prospect.
Agreed.
Mike saying 2010 run was my favorite tandem in net. That was Bush and Leighton. That was an interesting combination, and that was out of necessity because Ray Emery got hurt midway through the season. So that's the whole reason why that existed.
The only reason why Michael Leighton never played was because of Ray Emery's injury. What a garbage goaltender he is.
And Boucher getting hurt too. It was literally Ray Emery's hurt. Oh.
Michael Leighton, the Tim Tebow of the NHL.
Yup. I'm behind that 100%. Wow. That guy.
I agree.
I'm not going to go
Yeah,
there.
you have both Ray Emery had a almost career-ending hip injury, and then Bush got hurt, like literally, I think 2 weeks later. And then it's like, hey, we got this guy Michael Leighton who played for the Flyers like 4 or 5 years before that for like 5 games.
He almost got the job done. He almost did.
But then, like a cheap hooker in AC, he left his legs a little
He
wide open.
almost did. Yeah, crazy about. Unfortunately, how fitting that it was Patrick Kane who scored on him too.
Oh, he went there.
Oh, come on. So you left that one right. Yell there. Come on.
Come on, man. They dropped the case. They proved his innocence.
Just when I started feeling bad for Cater and stopped calling him a scumbag, you had to bring that up. Now he's back on the scumbag list.
Son of a bitch.
Listen, Kaner should be on the scumbag list anyway for all the damage he did to our team. Come on, let him go. Let it go.
Facts.
The damage, you should hate him forever.
Facts.
He also did some damage to the Sharks too, so can't really forgive all that. Moving on. No offense to Brian, but if the Ducks win the lottery, no offense to Brian, win the lottery, we kick him off the show, right? It's only fair. I couldn't handle him rubbing it in our faces with a number 98 Ducks jersey every show. No disrespect.
It'll be 90. I think. Well, I mean, who's we? It'd be those two, bro. You ain't got no say. You ain't got no. They don't even have to say. That's up to Tom. You might have to take that up with Tommy. Take it up with Tommy.
Right. We actually have to send in an application for removal, and that's only if Tom approves it. And I'll bet you Tom.
No, for real, Ted. For real, Ted. If it was up to me, it would be just me.
It'd just be like
both of these guys and Brad.
It's like, I'm done with these motherfuckers.
I'll just give you Colin Cowherd takes from the NHL every night on Tuesday.
These guys are laughing my jokes on the NHL. Fucking get him out of here. Well, why do you want to get rid of them? These guys, they never laugh at my jokes when we go into the intro. They never laugh at me. Fucking rat bastards.
Yeah. I'm like, Tom, I want both Matt and Brian gone. It's like, looks in the intro. All right, fuck them. Get rid of them.
Seriously, I think he probably has that kind of pull too, so I'm going to be careful where I go from here.
Self-centeredness has always been my strong suit.
Same. I mean, listen, hey, I'm the fourth of 5. I had to get myself some attention somehow. But anyway, let's move on here.
That's understand. I can understand. Ted saying, by the way, I copied and pasted that question about Yvonne Pershane. Okay. That's funny.
Yes,
Noah Cates is playing insane too. He seems like a leader. Yes, love Noah Cates' game. He was a big touted prospect. All right, seems like somebody was paying attention in the scouting department out there. Good shit.
Well, not just that. He does all the little things right too. So he's going in and he's winning puck battles and he's being physical and he's doing the little things right that he needs to do. And it's turning into good things. And hopefully some of these other guys are seeing that and they start kind of doing the same thing that Cates is doing. And you never know. You're in every single hockey game and you may not win them all, but you're in every single hockey game.
Yeah, I mean, but hey, listen, Noah is, if this is a sign of things to come, boy, he's a hell of a player on our hands right here. Anthony's saying Morgan Frost should be captain. Let's see here. He also threw out, what if Tony DeAngelo was captain?
I had that thought. I had that thought as well.
I mean, is he going to be here long enough? That's my only question.
True.
I mean, I know he's on a 2-year deal. So next year, I mean, if they don't move him at the deadline this year, maybe they move him next year. So that's my only question is how long does he stay in Philly?
It would be at an interim role, kind of like a la like Darian Hatcher.
Okay.
Or Jason Smith, I think, something like that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But he has that leadership quality about him. You know what I mean? And he definitely has a good presence on the ice.
Oh, yeah.
There's a captain, Jason Smith.
He was good for that cup of coffee.
And Eric Wisniewski. Lawton's, he was just holding on until Richards was named the captain. Eric saying, Lawton C, TK. I like that. Lawton holding the C, or you could swap out TK or Lawton if TK. York, I wouldn't mind having an A because, York has that kind of ability to him. So that'll actually, I mean, it's a lot of responsibility. But you know what? Maybe he might actually be able to handle that because he played pretty well when he was in the Flyers jersey. So I don't hate that.
No, neither do I. And York is really stepping up since being called back up too. So that's huge for them. I mean, that works. I mean, me personally, I'd flip Lawton and TK, but I mean that works too.
Yeah, and that could be a good grooming tool because York could be a potential with his talent level to having that offensive defenseman as your captain, a la like Eric Desjardins.
Yes, this is
true.
This man right here.
Rob's got all the answers.
Sometimes age benefits us somehow. We remember a lot of shit.
And then you name drop guys like Eric Desjardins, who is probably my favorite Flyer all time.
Yeah, I like Daisy.
Yeah. And I was listening to Charlie O'Connor saying the Ducks know their head coach lost the team. They're tanking right away. If they fire him, they would be better. Well,
I mean, oh Jesus, I saw that. Oh, John, my guy, my defensive partner.
Oh, who?
What he said? Richards thought the C on his jersey stood for cocaine.
There it is. Mike Richards thought the C on his jersey stood for cocaine. Oh, I love it.
That sounds about right.
Listen,
that sounds
man,
about right for Richards.
I'll say this before. I don't care how many. Listen, man, I don't care how many strippers' bums him and Carter were snorting off of. They were fucking putting up numbers in Philly. Like, I don't give a fuck. Have all the fun you want, brothers, as long as results are made.
Can I throw this theory out there? I know a lot of people like to say that they were doing
Sure.
blow, and I'm one of them, that they were doing blow off of strippers' buttholes, butt cracks. What if they were doing it off of each other's?
Oh.
Here's
the weird part. I
Just
wouldn't
a
put
theory.
it past them. I wouldn't put it past them. I really wouldn't. They've been roommates their whole life.
We lost Rob.
Richards wasn't
Rob's
doing
gone.
all that well in the Kings. And Carter wasn't doing all that well in club. So, I mean, I think there's something to it. I think there's something to it.
Maddie, I love it. I wasn't even thinking that. You're thinking outside of the box here. I love it. So, thus solidifying my theory that maybe they were, off of each other. Maybe it wasn't even the butt crack. What if it was something else?
Oh God, please stop.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I feel like Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber.
Maybe.
Well, I am dumber, so I'm just saying. Maddie's dumb, I'm dumber. What are you gonna do?
When he was sick and had to vomit.
Oh yeah, when he went out with the move on. We're gone.
The
We're
Flyers
done.
played some games this past week,
Didn't they? We talked about that. Ooh. Oh,
Didn't know. Couldn't tell.
circle sniff.
Some says about a sniff or two.
Joffrey definitely dabble.
Well,
Now that is the definition of the Devil's three-way.
yeah.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
Sometimes you
Put
need a
that
tag
vision
team
in your
partner
head.
every
Three
now and
guys
again.
snorting coke off each
Sometimes.
other. There you go. What I'm here for, guys. You guys think I'm here for my hockey knowledge? Nope.
I take it back. You both can stay now.
All right. So what's wrong with the Canucks?
All right.
Like, there's a lot. There's a lot wrong with the Canucks. So where do you want to start? Goaltending? They haven't been the same since they
a
got
lot
rid of
wrong with
Markstrom.
them.
Bo Horvat wanting out. Brock Besser wanting out. JT Miller being JT Miller. Canucks pretty much being forced to re-sign him when he didn't even want to come back. There's a lot. There's a lot to discuss with the Canucks. That's what's wrong. There's a lot going on there. I don't even know where to start. Horvat wants out. He's tired of rebuilding. Besser they want to get rid of Besser. It's a mess. It's a mess in Vancouver. It's a shame because they have a lot of talent. So how do you transition back to?
I mean, but you know what? Here's the thing.
There's no segue after.
Well, maybe the Canucks could. There isn't. I was gonna say, maybe the Canucks need to revisit the old days of hockey and maybe give themselves a little bit of life with some cocaine. But I don't know. I don't know if it would have the same effect as it used to on players.
No, probably not.
No.
Yeah, as far as the Canucks go, they're just a mess from they're a mess from top to bottom, and they need to figure some things out. I think they need to load up, get rid of everybody, get rid of Horvat, get rid of Besser, get another head coach in there, build around Quinn Hughes, build around Elias Pettersson, and just figure it out again. Just start from the bottom and build up. Arthur Demko, I don't think has really shown that he's the goaltender they thought he was.
Right now with the Canucks are just looks like I guess they're looking at it from what we're just going to have to do a rebuild from a rebuild. That's never fun. That's really just the worst thing that could happen to your rebuild. It's like, hey, guess what, guys? We're going to rebuild from a rebuild. Oh, goody. We're Buffalo Sabres now. I love it. Anyway. Ted saying WrestleMania is coming to Philly. Yes, it is. It is. The song is the goal song. The team's still in nowhere. It's going 20. I don't know. To Philly in 24. Who knows? Maybe the Flyers will do something that year. So next season, here we go. Here we go to the playoffs.
I mean, had you been watching teams
for that reason and that reason only.
There's a lot of good things going on right now to where you can see that if they add a few more pieces, clean up this roster a little bit, get more experience in this system, they could be a competitive team in 2024. We talked last show how they, I mean, as far-fetched as it sounds, 9 points out of the last wild card spot already in a year that was destined to be lost.
No, absolutely. And I'm with you 100% here. Like, I mean, obviously I don't want to speak for you guys, but I was cautiously optimistic about this team moving forward. And they're starting to show me why I was and why people need to believe in this team, because 9 points out of a season that they probably should be at the bottom with Anaheim and Chicago. 9 points out of a playoff spot. And they're playing well. I mean, Toronto, outside of that Toronto game, they've played well. They've showed a lot of resiliency. When they're losing 1-goal games. When they're winning by multiple goals. And you saw that in the last couple weeks. You know, this team is really showing signs of life, signs that some of these players are moving forward, and maybe as much as I didn't want to admit it then, and I'm going to admit it now, Torts was the right decision to make as head coach for this hockey team. Because these guys are conditioned to play. And they're conditioned to play 60 minutes. And you're seeing that effort just about every night. And when they don't, they hear it and they bounce right back the next game.
Yep.
Yeah. And saying that Buffalo has a good rounded system. They're starting to show that they're in their team history. Meanwhile, he does go on to say Ottawa is flopping backwards. Yeah,
Biggest
Ottawa
surprise for me this year.
They were hoping for this year.
Oh, yeah. Biggest surprise for me. Absolutely. You know, they went out and made some moves. You got Alex DeBrincat, Claude Giroux. You brought up Jake Sanderson. You brought up a couple other guys, Stutzel doing his thing. I mean, my only question mark for this team, and it's really starting to show, is the goaltending situation. And now I'm hearing I'm hearing Cam Talbot potentially on trade block. So, what are they going to do? Run with Matt Murray?
Trash.
Right. Trash after that second cup. Never the same.
No, actually, never the same after Marc-Andre Fleury left him.
Fair.
System goaltender.
Fleury his ass, but
I mean, even still, you could go and make an argument. You had Tristan Jarry with him. Look at Jarry. Jarry turned into a franchise goaltender.
Listen, that's Jarry. All right, I'll give you that one. But yeah, woo. Murray, ever since leaving, woo, boy, has he been. Phew.
I mean, even before, Matty, like, look at his numbers from Pittsburgh and the year before he left. His numbers were just not good after that second cup. After that, he was done. And he's still done. He's cooked. He's a career backup now.
A little too much. I think he partied just a little too hard those 2 years in a row. There'll be an interview later on where he'll talk about, it's like, man, those two seasons are a total blur. I don't remember a six. Let's see here. Ted saying we're not catching Chicago. They're bad now. Once trade Kane and Taves, they're going to be the less. And hey, Chicago did. They realized, you know what? We have the makings of a good tank here. Let's go for him. Let's get ourselves a Connor Bedard. I can't get mad at them for it. I really can't. It's a smart move. It's the smartest thing they've done in the last 5 years. And what trading for Stone?
It's gonna be so weird seeing Kane and Taves in another uniform.
Let's see here.
It
It
is.
is.
Jersey while I can.
It's going to be very weird. Unless I play to the goat head logo again. I like that idea, honestly. I prefer that logo. Really. I mean, I hate that logo, but to also at the same time, I hate it because Buffalo was actually good when they had it. So, so I guess for the fans and an objective point of view, yeah, go with the goat head logo.
Yeah, I mean, I like their
Benny's saying,
uniform
"What's
now,
up,
but-
boys? What's up, Benny?"
What up, Benny?
I'm like saying, at least the Coyotes aren't the Atlanta Thrashers. Whoa. You want to talk about a horror story? Woo, boy. Yeah, talk about the Thrashers. All right, final comment here from Swoopy. In on a freaking checking line. Duh. He wasn't in a position to show his scoring ability playing with checking guys. Now we're seeing him produce an offense because scoring line.
Astute as always.
Okay, Alex Tuck, have yourself a game.
All right, gentlemen. So, first period goalie controversy. Let's talk about it. I think we already talked about it a little bit here. I don't really think there is a goalie controversy in the sense of how in Philly, where, oh my God, the Flyers don't have a starting goalie. Now it's a situation of a controversy of, do the Flyers have too many goalies? It's the total opposite of in Philadelphia. I mean, like Brian was saying, it's a good thing to have, but I don't really think there's much of a controversy, though. I still think it's pretty much Carter Hart's team, and it's his to lose or to hold on to.
Ersson's been strong between the pipes. I mean, the 5 games that we've seen him, only 5 games, as Brian highlighted before, but 230 goals against and a 924 save percentage, thanks to Monday night shutout of a really strong Buffalo Sabres team. But you look at Hart, and if the detractors are trying to pick holes in his game this year, he has a 297 goals against and a 908 save percentage. Not numbers that are, lighting up the league, for heaven's sakes, but you're ready to anoint this kid, and it's a better, but 5 games, even that out over the course of starts that Hart has made, you'd see the edge to Hart. And there's seeing that question in Flyers groups made me want to vomit worse than the conversation before.
Oh man, that's bad.
Then the cocaine controversy.
So
Yes,
all right.
yes.
So Rob, to kind of help prove your point a little bit here, I actually did a little research. It hurt my brain. I'm not gonna lie. So I went and found Carter Hart's first 5 games in the league, and I want to compare him a little bit to Sammy's first 5 games in the league. All right. So if we're looking at the first 5 games alone, on December 18th, 2018, against Detroit, he allowed, this is Carter Hart's debut here. He allowed 2 goals on 22 shots for a 909 save percentage. Against Nashville, 1 goal on 32 shots with a 969 save percentage. Against Columbus, 4 goals. All right, so let me just backtrack real quick. Those first 2 games were wins. In the third game, it was a loss. 4 goals allowed on 19 shots for a 789 save percentage. Against Florida, 2 goals and a loss on 36 shots for 944. And then on New Year's Eve of 2018 against the Carolina Hurricanes, where he got pulled after 22 minutes, 3 goals on 10 shots for a 700 save percentage. By far his worst game. Let pretty much 3 goals cleanly through. But, again, it's his first 5 games. Now for Ersson, against the Carolina Hurricanes about a week and a half ago. 5 goals on 30 shots for an 833. San Jose goes to overtime. 3 goals on 28 shots for an 893 save percentage. 2 goals against the Kings for a 931. 1 goal against the Ducks on 29 shots for a 966. And then he had the shutout against Buffalo. The one thing we can absolutely take away from the first 5 games is that Ersson is getting stronger as he plays. I don't think there's any denying that. But the thing that I'm worried about is what happens when if you at the time you have Carter Hart playing Detroit, unfortunate rebuild, Nashville playoff team at the time, Columbus playoff team, Florida. I don't remember where Florida was in 2018. I think they were still rebuilding, and Carolina was a borderline playoff team at that point. So off the bat, Carter Hart already faced better teams than Sammy Ersson. You got 2 overachieving teams and a cup contender in there, and the cup contender tore them apart. It's not saying that this kid isn't going to get better. I'm just saying the Flyers are in a great position to put themselves in a tandem situation where hopefully they can build off of each other, play. I don't want to necessarily phrase it this way. Play off each other, compete with each other to make each other better. That's what I'm hoping for. I don't think either goalie needs to be traded. I don't think Ersson's a future starting goaltender of this organization. I still think that's Carter's job, but I think Ersson's going to have an important role moving forward, making this tandem one of the better ones in the NHL. But there's got to be some consistency here. It can't just be ride the hot hand. It's a good idea. It's in theory, but you got to show it that it's up to you two. It's not just Sammy or Carter.
Benny's Nation throughout one would argue that Hart had a better team in front of him at the time.
Maybe. But I think this team is playing a better game in front of Sammy, which I think is what's helping him look like he's better. And then, again, coming back to who Hart played in his first 5 versus who Sammy's played in his first 5.
I would also say, too, that 2018, I don't think the Flyers were really as good as we remember. The Flyers missed the playoffs that year. And that was also the year we broke the record for starting so many goaltenders. So, wasn't the best year for the Flyers. Anyway, what's going on, Brad?
Hello, guys. I'm back. Wife's here. Everything's back to normal again.
How the day?
Yep.
Yes, the universe is back on its axis.
Yes. It's a good thing. Yeah, I gotta tell you, listen.
All right, so let's see here. Also, Ted. And then Ted was also saying all these years when the West Coast sweep would have really helped us out in the playoff seeding, and we sweep our West Coast trip this season. The horror. Oh, the horror. You can't actually do well on the West Coast swing, and it doesn't fucking matter.
They've always been good, at least against Los Angeles.
Ain't that just how it works, though?
Found out. Yeah, well, I told you guys last week. You sounded like shocked about that, but they've always really owned Los Angeles, especially back in their glory days. They really used to put a number on them. So I'm not surprised. I'm not that surprised. Don't forget the West Coast teams.
LA was always the
West Coast teams have struggled this year, to say the least. It's been a rough go for all of them. So, but Buffalo, I tell you what, I think that's impressive to shut down that team.
Yeah,
gotta tell you, I thought that was impressive because that team can score. They may not be a great defensive team yet, but they can score. So you got to give them a lot of credit. But the thing is with the new goalie that you guys have, there's going to be film on him soon. So I mean, the league is going to adjust to him. So we'll see where that goes from there. Because a lot of guys come up and look spectacular when they first come up, and then, all it takes is one game where they start letting in goals, and then the whole world sees, oh, okay, this is what you got to do. So we'll see. Hopefully that doesn't happen to him. It really. You guys, Carter Hart is your bread and butter, but it's nice to see that he can actually get a rest once in a while, and you won't suffer in net, because that's huge. You need to have a backup goalie. You can't have a goalie that has 4 wins all season as your backup goalie. Not that I want to mention any names. All right, Yarrow Halak.
All coming here.
But
It's a little tickle in the throat there, Brad.
yeah. That's you have to have 2 good goalies. You do.
Gotta-
So hopefully it works out for them, and this is the beginning. So we'll see. I like Tortorella talking about the All-Star game. That was pretty cool.
That was fun. Yeah.
I'm glad somebody actually said it, because they've made such a mess of the All-Star game. It's almost a joke.
Honestly, though, going to the goaltending side of things, look at it this way: tandem. How many years did St. Louis play with a tandem? They had Jake Allen and they had Elliott when he was in his prime, and Jake Allen in his prime. Neither one of them was the clear-cut starter, but yet St. Louis was always in the playoffs and they were always competitive. It just
Because
they
weren't necessarily number ones,
for the most part.
They weren't necessarily number ones, but you know what? They could play 2 or 3 games in a row and be very sharp. But if they played every game, they get exposed, and they did a good job with that. That's the whole point. Some goalies are like that, and sometimes you in that case you have to have 2 goalies. I think Carter Hart is still a franchise goalie. I don't care what anybody says. I just think it's a question of the Flyers putting a good defense in front of them. It's they give up too many quality scoring chances. That's really the problem.
And then on top of that too, Brad, you got to remember this he's still a kid. He's 24 years old. I'm preaching this every week that your goaltender's not really going to necessarily reach their prime until about 25 years old, and he's still got a little bit to learn. But it's going to come with time, and he needs to play.
Yeah, I think Igor Shesterkin didn't come up till he was 24.
Right, and then Vasilevsky didn't take over as a starter in Tampa Bay until he's 26.
Yeah, goalies get better when they're at that age. A lot of forwards seem to slow down at that age, but goalies, are in their prime between about 27 and 32.
Yeah, it's a smaller window.
That's when they're in their prime. Yeah, that's when they're in their prime. The forwards usually they're in their prime from like 24 to 30. And then they start slowing down. But except for maybe Ovechkin, who's he's 20 feet tall, and everybody's afraid of him. So that has a lot to do with it.
That, and he has a section of the ice near the face-off hash marks where that's his office where he just blasts pucks all night.
Yeah, well, he's also. Have you noticed that he's going to the net a lot more?
Only authorized personnel.
Yeah, have you noticed though that he's been going to the net a lot more lately?
Noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got his big butt in front of the net all the time, and he's impossible to move. he's just a load.
That's true though.
I really hate. I hate Matt Zuccarello.
Not only will he go down history goal scorer of all time, but not only will he go down as the greatest goal scorer of all time, but he'll also go down as having one of the greatest commercials in the history of hockey players doing commercials.
Oh yeah, oh absolutely.
2 things to his name.
Oh yeah, that commercial with Nick Backman and his wife.
All right then.
There's no competition.
That is fucking hilarious. I mean, they've been trying to match it, but it doesn't work. I mean, they did it with Stamkos, and it's funny, but it's not.
Yeah.
Right
No, Ovechkin has a good sense of humor.
Oh yeah, he does.
David McLeod saying Oettinger is the same age as Hart. Yeah, and Oettinger also has probably the best defense in the league in front of him. So that's a very unfair comparison. I mean, my God, if you put Carter Hart behind that defense, come on, guys, come on, you got to give him a break. The kids may be young, but that Dallas team defensively, the last 3 years has been a rock. They may not score a lot of goals. That's until this year, that seems to be a problem for them. But I mean, come on, that's not a fair comparison at all.
Brad. All right, I'm going to give you a litmus test here. Would you say that Dallas's defense is so good, even with Georgiev? They could win.
Yeah, they could. I mean, who gets rebounds?
Okay. All right.
That's the thing. I mean, Georgiev gives up a lot of rebounds, yes, and that's always been a problem. So, that's that in itself. If he was with Dallas, they'd clear all the rebounds. The one thing you have to say is, honestly about Dallas defensively, they're really good, and they don't give up a heck of a lot of opportunities. They don't give quality scoring chances all that often, so you got to give them credit for that. That's huge. But I mean, to compare those two,
just wanted to throw that out there because I know that you have said
it's not fair to compare those two. Come on, I don't like Georgiev. I think he stinks, to be honest with you. I mean, he was terrible for the Rangers.
That's why I threw it out there, because
the Rangers had to score 5 goals every game when he was in goal. It's the same thing this year with Halak. Halak had 1 win until the last 2 weeks, and now they throw him out there against the bad teams. It took a lot all season to figure out that, hey, if we play like Montreal or a team like that, who we know we're going to score 4 or 5 goals against, Halak can give up his 3-4 goals and we'll still win. It took a while to figure that out. When you play if you're playing your backup goalie, play him against bad teams when you're going to score a lot of goals, and then you'll be fine. He'll give up his bad goals, but with Dallas would still be extremely, extremely tough to beat.
To back up your point, Brad, they have Esa Lindell on their third line pairing, and he's a plus 22 on the season.
There you go. I mean, defensively, they are really, really good. Defense wins Stanley Cups, and I know there's a lot of good offensive teams, but look at a team like Buffalo. Okay, Buffalo can definitely score. They can score with anybody. And Thompson, what does he have? 30 goals now?
32.
32 now. Okay. That's something that you don't think about it. But if they could have a goalie other than maybe Craig Anderson, who's 40, and their defense other than Rasmus Dahlin is not really good, that they can't go anywhere. You have to be able. If you remember the Islanders before they started making the playoffs all the time, they were scoring a lot of goals. And then Barry Trotz came in, and then all of a sudden they weren't scoring as many goals, but they played better defense, and they made it to the semifinals and pushed Tampa Bay to 7 games, in the bubble. So that's the thing. Every team that wins the Stanley Cup at some point or another has the ability to shut the other team down. Even Colorado. Colorado was probably as bad a defensive team to win the Stanley Cup as I've seen in a long time. Maybe since Edmonton. Because let's be honest, Edmonton, when they were really good, their defense stunk. If it wasn't for Fuhr, they would not have won all those cups. Even with Gretzky and Messier, Fuhr, they played no defense, and Paul Coffey may have been the worst defensive defenseman I've ever seen in my life. Great offensive player, but seriously, you guys got to see him every day, so you know what I'm talking about. And I don't think there was much of a difference in Edmonton. He just couldn't skate as fast when he was with you guys because he was 100 years old. But I mean, he wasn't good defensively. He wouldn't block shots. He was always flamingoing, and that's not a healthy way to play defensively. I mean, think of you guys. When you guys won the cup, who was the best defensive team in the league? You.
Yeah. You can
Bernie
make
Perrant.
an argument for the Bruins.
You had Bernie Perrant, who was a brick wall, but still, your defensemen all hit somebody.
Yeah.
And you had a couple of guys who could score. If I remember correctly, Bladen was a pretty good offensive defenseman. Jimmy Watson could score too. So you had a couple of guys who could score back there. But I mean, that team was a great defensive team.
Yep.
If you look at all the Stanley Cup winners throughout, even in the period where there was a lot of scoring going on, the best defensive teams always would end up winning.
Right.
So, and again, I think the Flyers are okay in goal. I don't think that's the problem. I don't think that's ever really been the problem the last 2-3 years.
Same.
So,
and now that you have a goalie, a backup goalie, at least for now, you don't have to play Hart all the time. Hart will be a lot better if he plays 60 games as opposed to having to play, or 50 games, instead of playing 60.
Oh, I totally agree.
Benny's Nation saying Hart still needs to work on dropping too early. That seems to be what opposing teams are looking at. Again, still not a controversy for me. Hart is the guy. I mean, yeah, he does drop a little bit, but I still worry about his stick handling. I'm like, Hart, please just cover the puck when you get it. Don't
Henrik
stick handle.
Lundqvist couldn't handle the puck at all.
Right.
Okay.
So, you
watch. If you remember the way he used to handle the puck, every time he'd try to pass the puck, he's not Igor. Igor gets the puck, and he's going to start a rush. Lundqvist couldn't handle the puck at all, and did that really make a difference? No, because he still couldn't put it past him for the most part until he got
right. I mean, it's not like the end of the world. It's just that I think Hart tries a little too much with that. It's like, okay, just less is more. Just cover it when you get it.
But goalies,
you don't need to keep the play going.
Goalies like to be part of the play. You know that. I mean, the goalies, they always are the ones that want to score a goal. They're always the ones that want to get some assists. You know that.
I get that, but it's like you don't have to be Ron Hextall, and you don't have to friggin' try to figure out a way to score an empty netter. Come on, just let it go. Be a team player here. Just cover the puck. Let the play die down.
I mean, the only time he should be doing that, he should be messing around with the puck, is if there's an empty net and you got at least a 2-goal lead.
Right.
Then it's okay. But other than that, okay. But again, it's not the end of the world, guys.
No.
Plenty of goalies have not been great stick handlers and did very well in this league.
Let's see here. Ted said the Jets offered us Patrick Laine straight up for Provy, but Chuck Fletcher said no. If that's not enough to get him fired, I don't know what is. Can A2D protest outside Chucky's house? Well, I mean, we've been protesting out of Chuck's house, but that's not really the reason why. It's been other reasons.
I don't think I would have done that either.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about Laine.
Laine. No, Laine is Laine can score, but he plays no defense. He never passes the puck. I mean, I'm not so. I mean, listen, would I want to have him? Sure, especially on the power play, because my team never shoots. They're always passing the damn puck all the time, and until you're ready to retch from them passing all the puck, then they'll finally shoot. But you're ready. If you're a Ranger fan, you're sitting there screaming at the TV, "Shoot! God damn it!"
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, you guys have that same problem, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, let's put it to you this way. All right, so let's jump back to Patrick Laine real quick. This is why I went
Okay.
with Patrick Laine. After we'll say after his 4th year in the league, he's scored over 20 goals once, and that was last year. He had 26 last year. He's off to 9 so far this year.
That's not good. By the
No.
way, I just wanted to bring it up again. Dallas and the Islanders. You want to gander a guess what the score is without looking?
4-3.
They're in overtime.
3-3.
1-1.
1-1.
No.
You're
Would
close.
that have been listen? Would that be a great game? Wouldn't that be an easy win to bet the under?
Yeah, right.
With those
course.
teams playing. I mean,
Right.
But yeah, I mean, 10 goals in 2020, 2021 in 45 games, 56 games. He's 26 goals last year, and he's off the 9 in 24 games here too. My biggest concern, though, with him is the fact that he doesn't stay on the ice.
no, and he's a selfish one-way player.
2018, 2019 was the last time he played in the full 82-game season.
So that's not good. I didn't realize it was that bad.
He's not hitting 82 this year either. He's already missed time. He's only played 24 games. We're about 41, 42 games in.
Yeah, he's been injured twice this year.
Mm-hmm. That's my only concern.
Yeah, I wouldn't have tried. Listen, you don't trade a number one, a top pairing defenseman for a forward unless the forward's like a 40-goal scorer consistently every year. You don't do that because that's you can't win that way. You know, good teams build when they build. If you ever notice, they build from the inside out, meaning they start with the goalie, then they get their defenseman, then they go out and they get their forwards. That's what good organizations usually do when they're building a team. The dumb organizations worry about trying to get goal scorers first and then worrying about defensemen later. You can't do that. It takes a long time for defensemen to just come in and really be good. You know, perfect example this year, Rasmus Dahlin. Right? I mean, this is the first year he's really, really been good. I mean, he showed a little bit last year, but this year's been his coming out party. It's taken him a long time.
Finally gave him a good partner in Owen Power.
Yeah, but it's more than just that. You know, they have to get used to the speed of the game, and it takes them a while to get confidence in their offensive ability. A lot of them are afraid to stick handle. You know, it's a lot for those guys. So, I mean, that's basically what it is with defensemen. I wouldn't trade a top defenseman for a forward unless the forward was really good. I mean, if let's say the Islanders offered you Barzal for Provorov, then you'd be stupid not to take that deal. I mean, but I wouldn't put Laine and Barzal in the same class.
Yeah, jumping back to Dahlin real quick, I definitely thought he was older than he was. The kid's only 22. So if he's starting to really get a hold of the game and really start to break out at 22 years old, that's going to say a lot of good things about Dahlin moving forward and how good Buffalo's defense could potentially be with Power and Dahlin being your top pairing.
Yeah, they need but again they've got to get a goalie. I mean, Anderson's good, but how many games is he going to be able to play when he's 40 years old? You know, when he starts hitting like 40, 50 games played, he's not going to stop the puck anymore.
No, he's at 15 already.
He's only at 15 now?
He's only at 15.
Oh, then he's okay then. But who's their number one goalie then?
I think it is. I think they're platooning him and Luukkonen.
I never see Luukkonen play. I mean, that's another one. It's like Boston. I never see Luukkonen. Every time I see Buffalo play, it's always Anderson.
So. Yeah, Luukkonen's 23-year-old kid. He's 9-3 with a 3.49 goals against and an 8.94 save percentage through 13 games so far.
That's awful. That's awful. Oh my God. That's Georgiev numbers. Yeah, that's what Georgiev did last. He said 3.49. A 3.49 in this era for a goals against average. I mean, this isn't the '80s. This is 2020. By the way, Dallas and the Islanders are now in a shootout 1-1.
By the, also,
his last 5 games, Minnesota, he gave up 5 goals on January 7th. Washington, he gave up 4 goals on January 3rd. Boston, he gave up 3 goals on New Year's Eve. Detroit, he gave up 3 goals. Vegas, he gave up 2 goals. Also seeing 30, 40-plus shots in those 5 games.
That
pretty much
help.
Respectively.
Yeah, well, their defense is not very good either. But
no, especially once you get off that first pairing.
Yeah, but 3.4. What did you say? 3.49.
Mm-hmm.
That you can't give up that many goals. You just can't. You got to be better than that.
He's 23. I wouldn't put too much thought into his goals against right now.
Yeah, but 894.
Again, I'm not putting too much thought behind it. 23-year-old goaltender's not getting a ton of time to really work it out.
You're not wrong. You're right, because they're a lot better in their primes when they once they don't hit their primes till later, till 26, 27.
Yeah, but you also hit the nail right on the head too, saying they're not the best defensive team, and they're not, and that helps. Once they figure out where they want to go after their first pairing, I think we'll see a little bit more clear. And they want to figure out where they're going to go goaltending-wise. I think you're going to see the picture clear a little bit. I think you're going to see some of those stats get a little bit better.
By the way, Benny's Nation says that Mane is the mirror image of Chris Gratton. I think that's actually very fitting.
Chris Gratton, yeah, you know what? That's a good comparison.
Yeah, that was a mistake. The Flyers will take back.
Yeah. Chris Gratton had a couple of really good years, but then he.
Yeah.
Miscue. Yeah.
Just a little bit. Yeah. And then David also says, what are the odds Dahlin sticks with Buffalo, though? He'll just jet as soon as he gets the opportunity. Do you think he would? Do you think he gets a nice offer from a team and he says, fuck you, Buffalo, I'm going somewhere else?
I think it depends on the success that they have starting as soon as this season. You know what I mean? It might be a more attractive place to stay.
Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere. I would think that he'd be happy to be with this team because they're young now. They got a nice young base now, so he can grow up. He can grow up with all these kids, and again, they just if they can find themselves a couple of defensemen, they need a second pairing. They really do. Their second pairing is more like a third pairing, and that's the problem. So
yeah, I mean, I would take Dahlin in a heartbeat. He's got 2 years left. He will be an RFA. So if anybody does get him, it'd have to be via trade. Otherwise, they got to give up compensation being an RFA. But outside of Dahlin, Power, and Henry Yukaharu, they really have nothing after that. Ilya Lyubushkin is their next best defenseman, and he's a third pairing, 7th defenseman, in my opinion.
On most teams, he would be, yeah. On a good team, yeah. You're right.
On the,
I think I think your defense pairings are better than them.
Oh yeah.
They are. I mean,
Anaheim on paper, absolutely.
Yeah.
In actuality, no.
Who did you say? Did you say LaFleur from Dodgeball is on their team?
Peter LaFleur, yeah.
Peter LaFleur.
I was going to say, on the plus side for Buffalo, they're killing it in the name department with Lyubushkin and Yokoharu.
Yeah. Yokoharu, he's not a bad defenseman. He's a good top 4 defenseman. He's not bad. Why are they interviewing Nikki Glazer? Sorry.
By the way, Mike also said, remember Jeff Hackett in net? I don't want to remember Jeff Hackett in net.
I do remember Jeff Hackett. Was he with the Flyers?
Yeah.
Was for
last 2 years?
Yeah. That was a bad idea.
He played for almost every other team in the league, so yeah.
That's why you don't want to remember Jeff Hackett in net.
You got him 20 years too late.
Right. End of his damn career.
He played for a lot of teams, Jeff Hackett. If I remember.
He did.
I distinctly
this-
remember him being a Blackhawk.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
That's where he's had his most success.
Yeah, that was his best time. Was when he was playing for them.
Did the Flyers draft his kid or something like that? I guess he couldn't hack it.
It was Maxime Guillaume. That was who they drafted for goaltending, and that was a shitty pick in 1999.
Rob got it.
I love puns.
Good night,
You know,
ladies and gentlemen.
what's funny? You never forget. You forget the forwards, the bad forwards that you have. Nobody ever forgets the bad goalies.
Oh, no, you don't.
No, I mean they have a reputation, and they like nobody's going to forget Brizgalov. That's for sure.
Nobody's going to ever forget, at least I'm never going to forget, Alexander Daig. One of the biggest busts to ever come out of the draft.
Nail
in NHL
Yakupov.
history.
Nail Yakupov was pretty bad too.
He was bad once he left Edmonton. Edmonton, he was okay. He never lived up to being
but for the first
top
but
five
for the
pick.
first pick in the draft.
Yeah, that was a
absolutely.
mistake that
I agree.
Edmonton would like back.
I'll tell you what, we're starting to get worried about Lafreniere up here.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's starting to get to the point where we really are starting to wonder about him now.
You just see Lafreniere leave the Rangers. He goes to like the Devils or something. Please God, no. And does actually well.
Oh God forbid! No, we trade him for Patrick Kane, who looks like he's completely washed up, and he ends up scoring like 50 goals for Chicago, and Kane ends up being a stiff in New York. I can see that happening.
Knock it up.
Yeah, if that's going to happen, send his ass to Edmonton.
Yeah.
You got the Kane and Kane. Put him on a line with Evander Kane. You got the Kane and Kane line.
There you go.
There you go.
But two
He's on
cancerous
fire.
people right there.
I'm
I'll tell you
Right
what,
there.
You know who's going to be the most? You know who's going to be the most sought after player at the deadline? I tell you right now, it's going to end up being Tarasenko.
Yeah, him or Ryan O'Reilly.
I would rather have him than I would much rather have him than Kane right now. Kane, how many goals has Kane had? The last time I looked, he had 5. That was a couple of weeks ago.
Right now.
I mean, he's not been. I mean, I don't care how many assists he has. Isn't he supposed to score? Isn't he supposed to score? Isn't that his job?
Fucking Anthony Richards and Carter sniff cocaine off of Dickie Glazer.
God.
I believe it.
I would. I would. Nicky Glazer's
Better than what they were doing in LA.
Kane's got 7.
I'm looking for hockey games right now, and I just found the toilet bowl is on. The
toilet
Sharks.
bowl.
The Sharks at Coyotes. How about that one?
Yeah, it's
Blackhawks
2-2
and
right
Ducks are
now.
playing?
Yes. How many goals does Patrick Kane have now?
7.
7. And he makes $10 million a season.
3
And
players
he's got
on this roster. 3 players on this roster have 10 or more. When your leading goal scorer is Max Domi, you might have an issue.
Max Domi.
And I like Max Domi.
Well, I like Max Domi too, but I mean, he can't be your number 1 goalie. I mean, number one goal scorer. I'm sorry, that's not what I'm saying.
If Max Domi's your leading goal scorer, you might be a Blackhawk.
Yeah.
You might want to delete the franchise on top of it. Oh my God.
I remember a few years ago that when the Rangers had Brandon Prust. Okay, like the first 10 games of the season, he had 5 goals, and then none of the other guys were scoring. And I remember one of the guys on WFAN saying, "If Brandon Prust is your leading goal scorer, you've got a big problem."
Yeah.
I think the same goes for the same goes for Max Domi. I mean, my God, Bonk is a good one too, Benny. I would agree with that.
One of my favorite names, though, of all time. That's still a great name.
If you're gonna go a little bit further down the list, I mean, Jonathan Tage is right behind him with 11, and right behind him is Taylor Radish with 10. So there's still some company up there, but
at least Taze is doing something.
Tage Caves, I actually think
Up
is a
that
good
trade value big time.
I mean, their points leader is still Max Domi, but Kane's right behind him with a point, and then Jonathan Taves is right behind him with 21. So, I mean, it's a shame because, you know, you don't really want to see these guys really like take the downfall. I know you guys. I know how you guys feel about him, but I love Jonathan Taves and I love Patrick Kane. I think they really did really great things for the game. It's just sad to see. You know, it's towards the end of their career. They're gonna leave. They're probably gonna be out of Chicago this year. It's just it just breaks my heart a little bit. That's all.
Right. Let me see here. All right. So Brown back in a minute. Benny Station saying Kane and Kane, the ladies beware line. Oh my God.
Pretty much. That's pretty much how that's working.
All right then. So
I'd like to comment a little bit here, real quick, Matty. Mike was saying, remember when we traded for Peter Forsberg? When he traded. I mean, yeah. If you're hindsight's 2020 on this one, especially when the Flyers finally got him back.
Well, the Flyers got him back at the end of his career.
Like, you guys know how I feel about Eric Lindros. You know, I was never. I think he was way overhyped as a player, but I think the Flyers would have been a much, much, much different organization had they kept Peter Forsberg. I'm not saying it's a bad trade, but hindsight's 2020 on that one, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really say that. See, it's Forsberg. You traded him to a team that was pretty much built to win right then and there. You traded him out to You traded him to Quebec, which became the Colorado Avalanche. That team was ready to win. They've been building themselves up for a long time. They had Adam Foote by that point. They had Joe Sakic. I mean, that team was ready to go. The only thing they were missing was goaltending because they only had T-Bolt. So they finally went and got Wah, and that was the linchpin that put them in place for a cup. So it's a little hard to do that. Whereas the Flyers, they were so bad at that time that getting Lindros streamlined the rebuild. If they had not gotten Lindros, it probably would have taken them a little bit longer to get back to that competitive run if they had built around Forsberg. That's not saying Forsberg's a bad player, by no stretch of the imagination, of course. But it would have taken them just a little bit longer. We would have had to wait maybe, what do you think, 2 or 3 extra years, I think it would have been, before the Flyers would have been really competitive again, I think, in my opinion, because that would have been a longer-term rebuild.
Plus, you got to consider who they gave up along with the pick that became Forsberg. You gave up a young Mike Ricci to that Quebec team. You also, I mean, Hextall was in that deal as well to address their short-term needs for goaltender before they eventually got Wah out in Colorado. But there was other pieces and so if those pieces retained in Philadelphia, and then you bring up a young Forsberg through that organization, you know, it's the what if game, and you can't play that because at the very least that team was a successful team. They just couldn't get over the hump.
Right. The only thing that happened too is, boy, the Legion of Doom was a great offensive team until they met a defensive team, and then they got fucked every time. It was the defensive age of hockey, with the Flyers being an offensive-oriented team.
If I said it once, Matty, I said it 1,000 times. They had too easy of a path to that cup final. If they would have played like 1 or 2 more 7-game series building up to that, they sat way too long and got way into their heads before they played Detroit.
Absolutely, because you just look at the conference finals. They swept the Rangers, and they were just waiting. And Detroit had to fight in 7 games to beat Colorado to get there. So it's like, you know what? I know everybody was saying the Flyers should have won that series, but it's like, you know what? How could you really argue against Detroit and how tough they had to have been to win just to get to the Stanley Cup? Right through the East that year in 1997. Yeah.
That's when they had the Fab Five, right?
All right.
97 was the year they had the Fab Five. Yeah, it was.
Yes.
I'm sorry. You say what you want. You can try and defend that all. Detroit was a lock for the Stanley Cup that year. I'm sorry. They were the best team.
Yeah.
They were a very tough team to beat.
Well, Lindros said it himself. He said they were the better team. That's just how it was. They were the better team at the end. And also, to be fair as well, let's call it what it is. The Flyers' goaltending was not great either. So that didn't help anything in the situation.
Well, if I remember correctly,
love Hexy, but
now if I remember correctly, that
What?
playoff they went the Rangers for 6 games. They went to the Devils for 6 games and went up to Pittsburgh for 6 or something along those lines.
No, they beat Pittsburgh in 5 in the first round. They sent Lemieux off on his first retirement, and then the next round they beat Buffalo and Ovechkin goal. So it wasn't even much of a challenge because Shields was their goaltender in that series because Hasek got hurt in the first round. And then the final one was Messier. And they beat them in a sweep because the Rangers just could not keep up with the Legion of Doom.
Right. I can't remember the 3 teams they beat. For some reason, I thought they were all wound up all being division guys. I don't know why I thought that. Dumber. Remember?
They kind of outmuscled them then.
2 of them were
Flyers. they just outmuscled them.
Yeah.
97. That Detroit team.
Yeah, they also crushed Sergei Zubov.
Rangers were an older, so it was...
Yeah, they also Sergei Zubov. They exposed him because every time he got the puck, they were throwing it in his zone, and every time he went to get the puck, they would pound him into the boards, and then he got skittish, and the Flyers just took advantage of him really bad. And Kevin Lowe was too old and too slow to cover up for him. At least that's what I remember from that series.
The glory days of 95. Or no, I'm sorry. The glory days of 94 had passed.
Yeah, well, they had plenty of shots, but that was the year they finally got over the hump. But they couldn't, they got Gretzky, then they got Gretzky, and that didn't work out all that great either. I mean, it did for 1 year, and then Messier jumped ship, and they were done.
What's up, Don?
Let's see here. And Detroit was another dynasty we ran into. Yeah, that's true. And David also said that Detroit team was one of the best teams to ever play. Absolutely stacked with Hall of Famers.
They were really good. Didn't they have Hasek back then?
97, no. It was Vernon and Osgood.
Or did they have? Or
Yeah.
did they still have? They still have what's his name?
It was Mike Vernon and Chris Osgood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Osgood. They probably had Osgood back then too, right?
Oh yeah.
Ozzy was there. Yeah. It's funny. Ozzy was always there. Yeah.
What's his name came back? Came late. I guess Hasek came back later, right?
Hasek didn't come in until the early 2000s when he left Buffalo. And
you're right. Hasek was there.
Yeah.
Hasek was there in '99 when when Buffalo lost in the Stanley Cup Finals. Well, actually, they got cheated in the Stanley Cup Finals because Brett Hull was standing in the crease interfering.
Okay. The air quotes.
Depends on your perspective.
It's cheated to a Buffalo fan. For everybody else in the league, it's quit your bitching, and you lost.
Well, I mean, but they did get cheated in that game, though. I don't think there's any question about that.
Here's the thing: I have no sympathy for that Buffalo team.
No, I
Especially
felt bad.
Matthew Barnaby was on that team. Go fuck themselves.
Well, yeah. The only guy I felt bad for in Buffalo was Hasek because I wanted to see that guy win a Stanley Cup. I like to see greatness get rewarded in hockey.
I can agree to that, but you know what? That's okay. He wound up winning a cup in Detroit, so it all evened out at the end of the day.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
The hockey gods made up for it by having Detroit beat the shit out of an underdog Carolina team in 2002.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Well, the Canes
So-
can't lose enough. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Then with that stupid storm surge, my God, they look like morons when they do that.
This was before the storm surge, though. This was still when the Hurricanes kind of didn't have an identity. They were rocking with.
I know they weren't doing
very-
that then. I know they
what's
weren't
his
doing
name?
that then, but now I look at their storm surge. I'm like, oh my God, these guys are freaking ridiculous.
Metal Knight saying, was the Fisherman era bad for the Islanders, to be honest? It was bad for them. Great for everybody else, because you can watch them suffer. And then,
I kind of enjoyed the Fisherman era.
he also says Buffalo and the Stars. I could imagine. And he also said Buffalo and Stars Cup was a fun one to watch, but that one play screwed Buffalo over. And then Ben,
Yeah.
he's saying Buffalo got through 95 or 97 when Leclerc shot through the side of the net and the goal counted. Yeah, that was a bullshit call too. That shouldn't have counted.
No. But you know what? It happens sometimes. Back then. I could see it happening because they hadn't perfected the replay back then.
John Leclerc could do no wrong.
No, there was no goal. Right. Leclerc could do no wrong. Fuck you, Buffalo. You lost. Deal with it.
The heck did I just come back to?
Showing no mercy.
We were talking about the goal John Leclerc scored when it went in through the side of the net, and it shouldn't have counted.
Just wanted to go get some M&Ms. The next thing I know, I'm coming back and I'm like, fuck it. I'm like, all right. What did I miss?
All right.
That's a shame. Calgary just lost after being up 3-1. That's a shame.
Well, the Stars,
poor Dylan.
The Stars blew a 2-0 lead and then a 3-2 lead in the third period.
No, man,
And
you
then-
hate to see that, don't you?
And then the Rangers played. Then the Rangers had to beat them in the shootout. So they swept the Stars. Not the Stars. I'm sorry. The Minnesota Wild.
Wow.
I still get them confused. I almost called them the North Stars for crying out loud.
North Stars.
Yeah, you know the brain when you get older, it can get cruel sometimes.
I gotta say,
We covered that earlier in the show, Brad. Yes.
Yes, yeah.
I gotta say this real quick. I'm putting it out there. Jordan Kyrou, one of the most under the radar, really solid players in the NHL. I love this kid. The speed he has, his IQ, his ability to pass the puck. Jordan Kyrou is such an under the radar stud. Anyway, continue.
Me Metal Mike saying, who's the biggest jerk in the A? I'm going to say Vander
Tom
Kane.
Wilson.
He's an asshole. Tom Wilson's a dick too, but
No, Tom Wilson is the biggest ass in the league.
I'm going to go contrarian here. I'm going to say Matthew Tkachuk.
Over his brother?
Yeah, even over his brother, man. He already got suspended once this year. Got suspended one time as a Calgary Flame, and they wanted to trade him faster than he wanted to leave. So he's got to be a little jerk in the locker room.
Yeah, Brady Tkachuk is the captain, so maybe I guess not, but I can't stand him either.
Yeah, for sure.
Irony of all ironies, every guy that we just chose on the ice is like the biggest dickhead on the ice, but off the ice are like the best people in the world.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
I'm just saying.
Usually
Except Evander
is the
Kane.
case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're like the nicest guys in the world too, but on the ice, they're the biggest dickheads.
Yeah, I wonder about Barnaby. I heard Barnaby's pretty cool off the ice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's got. I think he's got a lot of friends, so he's probably pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's got a pod. I think he's got a podcast too. I don't know when it is, but I bet he's hilarious. If he does, he should show just how big a prick he was when he was playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not gonna mention any more podcasts on ours because fuck them. We're worried about us here.
Yeah.
I like this. Does he deserve to be in Columbus?
Metal Mike.
Yes, he does.
Saying this.
Yes, he does.
So
For pulling the bullshit that he pulled this offseason, you deserve what you got, Johnny. You had an option to go to the Islanders. You had an option to go to the Devils. You had an option to go back to Calgary, all of which are potential playoff teams, and you decided to go to Columbus, who's the third worst team in hockey right now.
Talk about wasting your career.
I wanted to go to a winning team. I wanted to play winning hockey. I want to play meaningful hockey. You're certainly not doing that.
What made him pick Columbus of all the teams?
Playing such meaningful hockey.
Rumor has it his wife.
First off, I want to say his wife, apparently.
Well, thank God it wasn't. Thank God he didn't sign with the Ducks.
I don't know how true it is, but apparently his wife is the reason why they left Calgary in the first place.
See, these guys got to stop listening to their wives.
Well,
Wayne Gretzky ruined his career by leaving Edmonton.
Pronger?
Well, like I said, just a rumor, but I mean, apparently his wife wanted to, I think she was pregnant at the time, and they wanted to move closer to the family. I think taxes in Calgary had a lot to do with it too. Apparently there's like a lot of factors that had filtered in with this, but a lot of it had to do with his wife and wanting to be back closer to their family. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact she's pregnant.
Oh.
Not 100% on that, but that's just what I heard.
I love Anthony's comment. I hope Johnny Hockey has a prenup.
Yeah, right. God.
Christ, you're going to make me choke.
Just like Columbus is choking this fucking season away. But
wow. They did lose Werenski. That doesn't help, guys.
Yeah.
That's
Johnny Hockey. That's no excuse.
Yeah, but he can't do it himself.
No, he can't.
He's good, but he's not. It's not like it's McDavid. Yeah, if they got McDavid to play with him, that would help, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah, Mike. He wanted to. This was his. Philly was his destination. It's where he wanted to go, but the Flyers.
They couldn't get room in their cap.
Well, rumor is that Chuck Fletcher never even wanted him. He never even talked to him.
Oh, well, that was silly then. They should have.
Was it though? I mean, if you think about it, look at this roster. They're more than a player.
To be honest with you.
Yeah, but you know what? You could have a captain on the team that's respected throughout the league. I mean, they kind of need that.
Yeah, but is Johnny that type though? I mean, he's a great player, but
if he's getting paid that kind of money, he should be able to. Wasn't he the captain of the Flames? Who's the captain out there?
It was
No.
It was Giordano.
Oh yeah, okay.
I don't think they have one at the moment.
Interesting.
Honestly, though, I wouldn't want to throw a C on him anyway, because just like here, welcome to the team. Here's the C. Now go lead us to the promised land. I'm like, he did nothing to earn that.
Well,
he did not.
There have been teams who've acquired time players,
but here's
and made them coaches and made them captains. Though
I get. I get that. But here's the thing. Look at the last captains the Flyers have had. Giroux earned his C. Richards earned his C. Say what you will about Richards and his off earlier in the show. He earned his C. You know, I would prefer a captain that earns his C. Yeah, Pronger earned his chance to actually play out his time in Philadelphia, but you know what? He earned his C. So it's like, you know, they're going to earn his fucking C. Then just slap it on him and say, now go lead the team. You know, I would prefer that on it.
Well, and the other thing you got to look here, big picture too, is if they're doing an aggressive rebuild or whatever, retool, whatever the hell they're calling it, whatever it's not.
Yeah, whatever they're saying. Yeah.
You're not a Johnny Gaudreau away. So
No, that's true. But you know, he might be able to attract other players too.
He might be able to, but here's my thing is with the contract that he wound up signing, how much of that is going to be a waste here, like he's wasting in Columbus? Because my thing is, how old is he going to be by the time the Flyers reach the playoffs again? Like, he could be 30. He could be 34. He could be 35. We really don't know. My crystal ball's in the shop right now. But
if that was the case, that would be bad.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I'm getting at. You know.
Okay. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Focus on the player development. Get some of these young guys in. Get some draft picks. Get young again. Get Cutter ready to go. Get him on this roster as soon as you possibly can, and go from there. And then maybe this year or the next offseason, go after that big time free agent to fill those last minute needs that you need, that you think that could be the difference in being just a playoff contender versus a cup contender. It just wasn't the right for me. It wasn't the right time for Johnny.
Okay.
I will point out this though. This has nothing to do with the situation, but the guys who do the intermission for the Sharks, because they are playing the Coyotes in the mullet intermissions. Why can't we do that in Philadelphia? Should be doing that every time we play the Coyotes in their building, wearing mullets.
Yeah.
Party up, or was it business up front, party in the rear?
Oh God.
Yeah. All right. I think we've all right here. Let me put some of these periods to rest here. First and second period, because I think we talked about both of them during that time period, and then we got off track, which we normally do. But first period, that was brought to you by, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, check out Alan Foy, eXp Realty. You can contact him at 302-682 alan.foy, exprealty.com. And the second period, which was the recap of the games in the West Coast swap out, that second period brought to you by All Campus OC. If you're ever up in the Jersey area and on up to the shore, head on down to Ocean City and visit John Coyle and shop at All Campus. They're giving 20% off of everything in the store, including hats, shirts, to all of the subscribers for 2D, so get subscribed up. Also, John does host the Rant Booth, so you might want to check that out as well. All Campus, great store, shop. John's a man, and give him some support, give him some love out there. All right, guys, third period, around the league. Any pressing talk about in terms of things that have been going back and forth?
Real quick, before we actually do that, Maddie, I want to get into the scoring update.
Yeah, go right ahead.
All right, so we got a couple games in play right now. We got, at the end of the second period, Sharks and the Coyotes that we were just talking about. Mullet night, apparently. Tied up 2-2, halfway through intermission here. We have the Panthers up 3-1 on the Colorado Avalanche right now, about midway-ish through the second period. And then the games that are finalized now, Lightning blow out the Blue Jackets 6-3. Rangers hold on and win in the shootout over the Minnesota Wild 4-3. Devils win 5-3 over the Carolina Hurricanes. And then we have the Kraken over the Buffalo Sabres by a score of 4-3. Penguins beat the Canucks 5-4. In a barn burner here in Detroit, Red Wings win by a score of 7-5 over the Winnipeg Jets. The Stars wind up winning in a shootout over the New York Islanders, score 2-1. And we did talk about the Blues briefly beating the Calgary Flames 4-3, coming back from a 3-1 deficit in the third period.
Well, then. So, gentlemen, any major
It was a busy
news
night.
topics you wanted to throw out there for the
Yeah,
We-
sure. We were mentioning about the Dallas Stars earlier in terms of their depth and getting a little more goal scoring. Well, they're minus a top line center right now, and Rupe Hintz, who will miss at least the next 2 games with an upper body injury. The good news is that the coach Peter DeBoer is not concerned about it being a long-term injury. But for right now, it's a wait and see. He didn't even travel with the team, so they got Tyler Seguin, I believe, up on the top line, though. I mean, that's nice when you could fill a guy that of his caliber in, even though that's diminished over the past season or two. But still, he's a quality backup there for your top line center. But hopefully, they can get him back in the lineup really soon.
No, absolutely. Nothing that I'm really seeing. I mean, any activity I'm really seeing is just anything that's happened over the last couple days in juniors as far as trades go. We did see some big name prospects on the move going from junior team to junior team. Shane Wright, we talked about earlier, being traded from the Windsor Spitfires. Or traded to the Windsor Spitfires, sorry, for a bunch of picks. Anaheim just traded somebody. Oh, Owen Zellweger. So Owen Zellweger got traded from Everett to Kamloops. Here's the return. Go with me on this. 4 firsts, 1 second, a third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, and 4 players.
Just
Holy
for him,
fucking return.
right?
Is that guy like the next Connor McDavid or something?
He's one of the top defensive prospects for Anaheim. He's just that good.
I mean, I loved them in Bridget Jones's Diary, but
That's a lot.
Yeah, he was her brother, right?
sorry.
Olin Jones's Diary. That was a weird movie. It worked better with Renee though. But yeah, that's the junior deals that are going down right now. It's 1 or 2 players or a player and a pick for like. I want to see if they pulled up the Shane Wright deal yet, because that was an interesting deal. Which, by the way, where is it? As always, getting all my information off of Puck Empire, so give them a follow on Instagram. It's just you're trading guys for all these picks and juniors, and I mean, obviously more valuable in the junior draft than in the NHL draft, but it's just crazy. It's just crazy that one player went for, what was it, 7 picks and 4 players, got 11. I guess we'll call it item return.
That's
insane.
That is insane, because a couple of those guys are going to end up being good.
That's
At least.
And it's juniors. They're recycling players like most people recycle underwear. It's,
Oh yeah. A lot of them give up and take their skates and go home.
yeah, and most of them find a way to the NHL, find a way to the AHL, and you got to replace these players. So you got to.
Yep.
It's literally juniors is a rotating door.
Yes.
And you still, obviously, you still want to keep your teams relevant.
And a lot of them end up going to play college hockey too.
Yeah.
So
Like Carter Gauthier.
Yeah. That's another one. Logan Cooley.
Mm-hmm.
Logan Cooley, by the way, is a Ranger prospect. I just wanted to mention that.
Cooley.
Yeah,
He's
it's
a
going to
good
be very
prospect.
coolly to watch. It's going to be very coolly to watch him
Right.
play.
Oh, the dad joke coming out from the dad.
Let's see.
Oh,
Well, JT Miller is not getting traded. No way. That is not happening. Come on. Swoopy, I hear you, but I know they're a little mad at him for going off on the goalie the other day, but they're not going to trade him for that. You know, guys do sometimes make mistakes and lose their temper with their teammates. I mean, that's probably not the first time that's happened in the NHL. I think was he said get the off the ice and then he tapped him on the head with his stick or something like that.
he slammed the back of the net saying "Get the fuck off the ice" because it was a delayed penalty call. They wanted to get the extra player.
Okay, yeah, I knew it was something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he said, yeah, that was it. Believe me, I'm sure that's not the first time that's happened.
Did he slap him with? Did he slap him with his stick on the Cooley?
Jesus Christ!
Possibly.
There we go.
Oh,
You started the pun war, Brian. You started it.
I did no such thing. Don't blame me on this.
Oh no, you're getting blamed. It's just how it works.
I'm just sitting here trying to eat my M&Ms. Leave me alone.
You know, Swoopy did mention he said that they would try to trade him 2 years into the contract. I don't think it's going to happen that quick with
anything
Miller.
on the Rangers trade front, Brad?
I mean, right now, no.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that all of a sudden everybody's asking if they want to trade Lafreniere. He's not going anywhere. Why would they? Yeah, he's having a tough time right now, but they're not going to trade the first pick in the draft.
Yeah, you got to have patience with your.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if they would have done that with Kakko, they really would be. That would have been a really tragic thing. And now Kakko's has really started to play well. Kakko got one of the goals in the shootout tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that's
interesting.
Yeah, I mean he's a pretty talented player. You know who he reminds me of a lot this year? Kovalev.
Yeah.
Remember him?
Yeah, I sure do.
I mean he's real hard on the puck now. He's not a soft player anymore. So I wouldn't do that. Rangers, by the way, may have lost Chris Kreider for a while.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's big news. That's huge.
He has an upper body injury. He didn't return, and you got to wonder.
And that's going to make Lafreniere even more important for the Rangers moving
Lafreniere
forward.
Lafreniere, they put him on the first line with Zibanejad and Kakko. So he's now he's playing with Zibanejad. I mean, if he can't play with Zibanejad, that's really going to be a problem. Zibanejad, anybody who's in the slump, you put him up with Zibanejad, and they immediately break out of their slump because that guy is a big time player.
I still can't believe Ottawa traded him.
Yeah, for Derek Brassard.
I know.
And a second round, and we got a second round pick. We got a second round pick with that.
To some random ass team.
That was insane.
Yeah, that was a bad trade. Yeah.
Swoopy, call it the pessimist in me. I have a funny feeling there's just this feeling in my gut. JVR winds up in Anaheim. I don't ask me why. I just have this feeling in my gut that JVR winds up in Anaheim.
I think he's going to end up with the Devils.
That's an option. I was reading too a lot of steam with Minnesota as well because they could really use his services, and he lives there.
Yeah, but do they have any room in the cap though?
They have just enough, or they'd have to wiggle like one little contract to free up a couple $100,000 or something.
They may have to get a third team involved if they want to do that.
Well, I mean, with the Flyers be willing to take any of his contract and eat it in order to make that deal work. I think that's.
Well, yeah, but if they do that, they're going to get a better trade for him.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's going to make it easier to move them.
Yeah.
Honestly, you're the Flyers, if you're the Flyers, though, you would eat some of that salary only because there's 1 year left on it. So it's
Yeah,
like, okay,
that would actually be
It-
smart.
Just get that pick.
you know,
Get
so
that
it's just
higher
like,
pick.
Mm-hmm.
Because what are you going to be spending money for this year anyway? Nothing.
yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. If you can get a higher pick,
Now,
I think you can get
Right,
a second for him.
right, yeah.
all right, second, third.
Yeah, I think a second,
Go for it.
a number two.
Yeah.
I think a number two is probably where
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to get a number one for him. Not as a rental, but you could get a number two for him.
No,
Maybe a 2 and a 3. You know, that's possible, or a 2 and a 4.
I would be incredibly surprised if anybody coughs up a first round pick for this draft.
No,
Yeah.
me too. Me too. Although Dallas did that. Dallas traded their first round pick
So
for
I'm going to say,
Nils Lundqvist, which I couldn't believe.
yeah.
When I heard they did that, I was like, but and it's only the only way that trade that doesn't happen is if Dallas finishes in the top 10 in the draft, and obviously that's not going to happen. So
Oh, we got chaos in Colorado.
I will
somebody
say,
somebody
what I was
dropped the
gonna
gloves.
say now
Well,
is,
a few people dropped the gloves, which apparently is illegal now.
who,
They can't
who's
do that
Edmonton
anymore?
playing?
It's not Edmonton, Florida and Colorado. I said Denver.
Yeah, is that game on ESPN Plus?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't get that game.
Yeah. Somebody just got a game misconduct. Hang on, I'll give you a little more info here.
Sharks just scored, by the way.
Yes, they did.
Wow,
Nice.
that really got out of hand for no reason.
Nieto.
Lumber going at it with some kid named O'Connor I've never seen. McDermott looks like he got some form of a misconduct.
Oh, he's a goon.
Yeah, he is.
He's also Curtis McDermott is probably the heavyweight champion right now of the NHL. I don't think I assume he won his fight. I haven't seen him. When was the last time he lost a fight?
I don't know.
He whooped great. He whooped what's his name last year? Reeves pretty bad last year. I was shocked because I didn't realize how good a fighter McDermott was.
I hate Revo, but he's such a good chirper. I love when I get his sound bites over my Instagram. It's the best.
Yeah, he's always got something.
I hate him. I hate him, but he's the best chirper.
I always liked him. I was hoping the Rangers would get him, and then they finally get him, and then they go and they trade him. That drove me down. So yeah, the Rangers lost Gauthier tonight too. They lost 2 guys tonight. And incidentally, the Devils, if you want a little around the league stuff, the Devils have now won 2 in a row. They won in Carolina tonight, 5-3.
Yeah.
And they beat the Rangers. They came back 3-1 in the third period to the Rangers, and they beat them in overtime. So that's 2 in a row for the Devils after a very, very long losing streak, or I should just say losing pretty regularly for a while there. I think they were 2-6-2 for a while, and now they've won 2 in a row. So, and they've moved within 2 points of Carolina. By the way, the Rangers are now only 4 points behind Carolina. So it's getting a little tight now in the Metropolitan Division on top.
That's right, David. You're right. I forgot that was Giovanni Smith. That's who McDermott fought. I'm still trying to figure out why he got
Giovanni Smith. That's not a challenge for him.
There's not many guys in the league that are a challenge for him, though. I'm still trying to figure out why he got tossed, though.
He probably hit the referee or something. I mean, I can't get the game on. I wish I could, but maybe McDermott said something.
No, it just looked like he kind of backed into Giovanni Smith, and then the next thing you know, all hell broke loose. It didn't even look like Giovanni did anything. I forgot he went to Florida in that trade.
Isn't he the guy from Detroit?
Mm-hmm.
The black guy from Detroit, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was traded from Detroit to Florida in a 3-team deal that brought, don't ask me why, Michael Del Zotto back to Anaheim.
Why did you get hit?
don't know.
Are you trying?
Probably defensive depth in,
Are
in San Diego.
the Ducks in the market for some like porn videos?
Apparently.
Wow.
That was what he was known
for.
To San Diego.
Listen, times are lean out there in the West. And the West Coast things are lean out there. Sometimes less honorable businesses every now and again to make up some cash.
Well, I think there was something about him with dating a porn star in New York, and then he's selling your videos or something. He was selling your videos or something along those something like that. Something weird there. But yeah, McDermott is probably the Giovanni Smith is not. He's not the guy. He's not the guy that can even give McDermott a. McDermott should beat him with no sweat, I would think.
Oh, it was pretty one-sided. McDermott.
I would think that it would be 1, 2, 3, and then it's over.
David was saying McDermott is a monster.
Yeah, it was more of like a wrestling match, but McDermott got a couple shots in there.
Yeah, well, then Giovanni Smith was smart to make it a wrestling match and not let that guy get his hands.
Oh,
loose.
He pulled him in. He pulled him in too.
Yeah, then he took the cowardly approach, the smart approach, but the cowardly approach. Did you guys see the fight between Trent Frederick and Brendan Lemieux this week?
I did. That was.
Wait, did Lemieux bail out? Lemieux bail out in that fight or what?
No, I did not.
He realized he was a dead man, and he went and tackled him to make sure that he wouldn't get killed.
Frederick's been starting up a lot of shit lately. He was starting up shit with Trevor Zegers too in the Anaheim game against Boston when they got smacked.
He's a punk. Frederick's a punk.
I like him though.
You know what? I can't stand him. I can't stand the Bruins. I can't stand him. I want to see somebody just take a stiff arm like in Slapshot and just skate right into his face. I can't stand that guy. He's such a dirty, sneaky little Matt Cook clone.
All right, Matt, let's wrap this bad boy up here, homie.
Yeah. All right, guys. So, leave the third period for Around the League. Brought to you by FanUp, the best way to enjoy fantasy sports. They have a daily NFL contest and more. Obviously, we all know that the playoffs are right on our doorstep for the NFL. And congrats to the Eagles on having their best season in history. And now they've got a bye in the first round. And well, so for at least another week.
Take what we can get.
For at least another week, the Eagles fans can parade up and down, celebrate the Eagles being the top team in the NFC for the regular season before the playoffs get going.
They can do it for 3 weeks.
Besides that, of course,
the 49ers. When the 49ers come in, I'm sorry I have to tell you, but that's going to be the end. Unless they get back
right.
to
and if you sign up today, I don't know. I'll leave that up to the other guys at A2D to decide on that one. But their contest, they've got daily for FanUp, and you can win great prizes if you sign up today and use the promo code A2D for 5,000 bonus $50 value. All you gotta do is app in order to grab that bad boy. And by the way, also, if you want to be a member, it's only $99 a month. The reason I put up after FanUp is because you get perks like appearances on shows, members-only streams, shout-outs, and weekly podcast in Wildy Vegas. Those are two very, very important options right there. If you want to make some cash on the strict for things around the house and what have you. Not only that, too, you can pay for your A2D membership and get paid to be, so you get back for it. So become an A2D member. That's a perk you get for it. All right, so on to the shootout segment to wrap this sucker up. And the shootout starts us off with the player of the week. Gentlemen, take it away.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. Jack
Yeah.
Hughes.
Okay. I
Jack
like it.
Hughes, 2 goals against the Rangers to lead the comeback, and then the assist on the winning goal in overtime. I'm sure he probably lit the light tonight. If they scored 5 goals, I guarantee you he's a big part of that. And he seems to be flying again, so I give it to him.
Rowdy?
My player of the week is David Pastrnak, man. He was the number 1 star in the NHL last week. What's that?
Oh, he was my pick. Good pick.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'll save some of these tidbits for you then, but 7 goals during just last week alone. Had a hat trick. I think it was his 3rd straight multi-goal performance for the first time in his career. During the latter 3 games of the week. And I believe his goal total is, I'm bringing up the stats now. Yeah, 32 on the season, which is second only behind Connor McDavid's 34. So he's having a real fabulous season himself, and he had a fabulous week last week.
Yeah. And for me, it's hands down, it's David Pastrnak. 7 goals in 3 games. Think about
That's
that.
phenomenal. No, David Pastrnak is a great player.
And the worst part about it is he doesn't have a contract yet. The leverage is in his hands right now. So for the Boston Bruins, they have to figure out how to get a deal done soon because it's going to cost a nice chunk of change to get him back under contract.
Bruins will pay him. You know that. Even if they have to cut every guy on their team just to bring him back, they will. Are you kidding?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Swoopy, for God's sakes. Dahlin has 13 goals. Stop calling him soft.
But yeah, I mean, 2 goals against the Kings, 2 goals against the Sharks, a hat trick against Anaheim, which I believe was a Natty Hattie. It might have been a Natty Hattie. I don't remember, but I remember him having 2 goals in the span of 13 seconds. So
yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Turned it off right after that. Turned it off. I'm like, I'm done. But yeah, Possum, my man, player of the week.
13th career hat trick.
No, he is a
Dude,
fabulous player.
Insane.
Okay, so I don't know if this is he's saying this is no be sold to Saudi Arabia's public investment fund.
I don't know if I believe that. I know Stephanie resigned today. But I don't think that's why. I don't think Vince is going to come back to just sell the company to whatever the Saudi public investment fund is.
If that's the case, then does that mean that we're going to permanently in Saudi Arabia? The Saudi shows are now permanent.
I was going to say, isn't Crown Jewel coming up soon? That's February, isn't it?
I believe so. So that's interesting. That's if that is true, that is something that in this very ring we'll be definitely talking about. You can check out with Ritz Sanders. Definitely worth taking a look at.
Brian, your Ducks are really going to be up against it next 2 games.
They're up against it every game.
I know, but they got to play Edmonton and the Devils.
Mm-hmm. Then they have the Rangers after that, and then the Flyers?
No, they don't play. The Ducks are done with the Rangers.
They play somebody else between the Devils and the Flyers.
Edmonton.
Well, Edmonton was before.
Oh, okay. So Edmonton, the Devils.
Because they're coming back on the East Coast for the next after the Edmonton game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, the Ducks have already played the Rangers twice, so. And yeah, we lost in Anaheim. I think we were the first team to lose in Anaheim in regulation all season.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right,
that was when they were playing like dead carcasses.
Right. All right. So, my player of the week for me, Sam Ersson in there. Why not? Because
There you go.
you know what? I'll give the kid a little bit of credit. Stepped up, West Coast swing. I mean, not easy because the teams may not be what they used to be, but he still got the job done. He also beat the Kings, Kings being the better of those three teams there, and still managed to get the win on them. And then he shut out Buffalo. So you know what? All right, I'll give him that credit. He deserves the nod. You know what? Good on you. Good showing, young man.
Legit.
It's going to be fun to watch.
All
Just
right, thank
watch
you.
him go around the league and see how he does.
Well, we'll see about that. Hasn't been too much fun to watch Flyers do it, but we'll see.
Well, you know what? They got
mid-season.
They got 39 points now. I mean, if you would have told me they'd have 39 points in 43 games or 42 games, you would have had me saying, "Huh?" So they've been a little bit better than advertised.
I'll be
If it wasn't
honest
for
with
that one losing streak,
Yeah,
you know,
I get
really-
it, but I mean, honestly, I kind of feel
look
like
at the bright side. You're not starting
fucking
from the
blow
very
it up.
bottom.
fucking
with your
lose,
rebuild.
man. Just be shit. Come on, bro. just tank. Fucking tank, man. Admit it. Just
You know, you still could end
we're
up
several
getting,
players.
you still could end up getting Bedard.
It ain't
You know?
hard. Sports logic.
You still could get
How?
Bedard.
There's
It's
very
not-
little chance.
Well, it's not impossible. The Rangers got the first round pick, and they were like they had the 14th worst record, and they ended up getting Lafreniere that one year.
That's a good point.
You never know.
Yeah, but that was weird because of the. I don't know. Chicago on win streaks. Anyway, moving on. Mid-season MVP. Who wants to start that one up?
McDavid.
Ooh, I had my answer when I was making this, and I don't remember who it was.
Yeah, the only thing hurts McDavid's chances is where Edmonton currently lies in the standings. Unless they get their act together, I always go by team standing, as well as Leon Draisaitl having his normal, fantastic season right alongside him too.
Oh no, absolutely.
Well, what would they be? Think about this. What would they be like if without him?
Toilet bowl.
Yeah,
like you said before.
Yeah, they might be the worst team in the league without him.
I'm really pissed off because now I don't remember who this
I
was.
do like Ted's philosophy. Bedard, if we got Bedard, the league would shut down that day. You're probably right because we're not allowed to have anything nice here.
Are you trying to say the league is prejudiced against the Flyers? Maybe back in the 70s and 80s, perhaps.
Yes,
not now.
that's
Yeah. That was 40 years ago, though, guys. They're hardly the rude team that they were back
They've got a
then.
dynasty every time. You can't tell me the league ain't against us.
You're not paranoid, no, not at all.
No, not at all.
No.
This is what being a Flyers fan will do to you. All right. So, moving on. My midseason MVP. Midseason MVP for me, the entire fucking Boston Bruins. I hate to fucking say it, but god damn, that team is just fucking killing it. Good lord.
Points in 14 straight games.
Fucking. Oh my god.
We need
I
the
can't even
All-Star
name
break
one player.
to come.
Right. Kill their
Well,
fucking
the Bruins-
momentum as quickly as possible.
The Bruins. I would think it would be if you're talking about the Bruins. It's got to be Allmark, right?
I would give it to Pasternak.
I mean, that's
before I
part
give
of
it
it.
to Hallmark. I mean, he's been playing great, but
Right.
What he has like 1 loss in 26 games.
It's true.
I'm not taking anything
Impressive.
away from Omar. He's probably your Vezina winner, but midpoint MVP. If I have to pick somebody off of that Bruins roster, it'd be Pasta.
Yeah, okay.
That's why
But if he let's say he's on pace to lose 2 games this year.
That's why I'm not picking anybody.
Fair enough.
Yeah, if he loses 2 games this
People
year,
saying the
then he will
Avalanche
be
are
the
coming back.
MVP.
Yeah,
They will.
I think.
Yeah, they will. They just have to get healthy.
I think for me though, for the mid-season MVP, I think I got to go with Tage Thompson. Buffalo does not have the success that they're having if Tage isn't having the season that he's having. So
Yeah, he's been
for me, it's got to be Tage.
unbelievable.
He's third in the league in goals and with 31, and he's probably in the top 5 in points, definitely top 10 in points. But like I said, if he doesn't have the season he's having, Buffalo is sitting at the bottom with everybody else.
Yeah, they're an afterthought if they don't have him.
By the way, Ted says, yes, Brad, we're not allowed to win the lottery. The year we had the worst record, and it wasn't a tank job, and Chicago's, whose games are getting blacked out.
You guys had the first pick though. Unfortunately that guy didn't work out though. Nolan Patrick wasn't he the first? No. Hershier was the first pick. That's right. You're right.
No, this was 07. Got drafted by the Blackhawks.
Yeah,
Who got
Kane,
drafted?
That was the year that Chicago got Kane, and then the Flyers took JVR with the next pick.
Oh.
Kane should have been a Flyer.
That hurts.
Maybe I'll get a Flyers jersey done up with the Patrick Kane on it, and just to kind of tease a little bit more.
Dude, I see that.
I wanted to see Rob's reaction.
Yeah, and he only won 3 Stanley Cups.
Only 3.
Yeah, only 3.
Only 3.
Only 3.
That's not a lot. This day and age, that's nothing.
All right, let's wrap this up here. I'm getting stiff.
Heyo.
We don't need to know that.
All right,
Not
so
that stiff.
we did
My
it.
back is stiff. Wait, the way tonight, man. I'm not surprised you guys went there.
All right, so one last thing.
Hot take. Was that what that was?
Yep, hot take of the week.
I'll jump in real quick, boys. We talked about it earlier in the show, but much like other sports, the NHL All-Star Game player selection has become a joke. Currently, 32 All-Stars are selected by the NHL's Hockey Operations Department, whatever that is, with 1 player from each team selected. We established that they probably landed on Kevin Hayes because TK may not be a Flyer by the time the All-Star Game comes around. That's the only logic that makes sense to me. But then at that point, the fans get to vote for the rest of the rosters. It's supposed to be for the fans. Why is the NHL itself picking a bulk of the All-Stars?
Shouldn't the players be voting for them first?
Agreed. Agreed.
I mean,
Now, I don't know if does that department consist of some active players? Because then I could dig it a little bit, kind of like what Major League Baseball does. Then I could dig it a little bit, but it didn't sound like it from what I read about.
Well, if it's computer nerds, that's not acceptable.
Right.
I say fans or players should be.
How is Konechny not your All-Star?
That's the question. Yeah. That's the question of the day. It's the question of the week.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
But I'm with you.
How is Fox not in there? How is Adam Fox not in the All-Star game?
I think I know why the NHL doesn't want to trust the fans with this one. Because of what happened with John Scott. They don't want to do it again. They don't want that to happen again. That's exactly why they don't trust the fans.
Well, too bad. The game is supposed to be for that. As your coach so aptly put it, one of my favorite coaches ever. Okay, don't even give a shit about the All-Star game. The way they play that stupid game now. It's a joke.
I agree.
I mean, especially when they have all those ridiculous events before the game, the night before. I mean,
I love the skills competition. It's so much fun to watch. I love it.
I like
The
it
game I could do without.
as long as it's on the ice. But I mean, did I hear something about them doing stuff on the beach? I mean, hockey on the beach?
Yeah, probably. They did some fun off the ice events last year in Vegas.
Yeah, but on the sand?
Yeah.
They're going to put ice on the sand?
Guess so.
Probably some kind of flat surface, like the passing boards that they use for.
What are they going to do? Have a hockey ball instead of a puck?
No, they use a puck. They used a puck last year.
Yeah, I get it.
Why-
But what are they going to do? Put like an ice surface,
Why don't they?
a little ice tank right near the
So,
ocean?
Probably something like. You ever go into like a hockey store and see like that big hunk of plastic, the big white hunk of plastic that like a lot of people used to practice stick handling on?
Yeah. Okay.
Something like that, probably.
Or one of those 10 by 10 little things that you can make a pond out of.
Probably something like that too. I mean, you probably won't be able to use that with it being it's in Florida this year, right?
Yeah.
I probably won't be able to do it in Florida.
Yeah.
Too humid.
Well, it's
You're
You
probably
could-
not going to use any ice. Or just use a flat surface, smooth flat surface.
I guess.
I mean, Dave has a good point though. You could shoot frozen meat pucks into alligators' traps this year. I mean, you could do that if you're in Florida.
I suppose you could. Yeah.
All right, fellas, we got to wrap it up here because my laptop's about to die.
Okay. So that was Rob's hot take of the week. Who's up? Who wants to go now?
I'll go. Anaheim wins 3 games in a row. Why? Just because.
All right.
That is a hot take.
I like that.
That's a
Yes.
hot take.
With the year Anaheim's having, yes.
They can't even win 2 in a row. Are you serious? You win 3 in a row? Ooh.
My
Brian, real quick, Maddie. Brian went, why? Because fuck them. That's why.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that Chappelle Show skit. Why? Because fuck 'em. Oh, this has been a good show tonight. All you guys hanging around here.
So,
David,
my hot
Mike,
take
hit that
is
like, hit
that
subscribe. Oh, you got the button.
Mike,
right?
also everybody.
Hit that damn like and subscribe.
There we go.
There it is.
All right. So, my hike of the week. Rob is going to have a investigative show where he will be called. Will investigate cocaine controversies around Jeff Carter and Mike Richards. That's my hot take of the week.
Is it because I'm wearing the Homer Simpson Scarface t-shirt? Is that why? Is that why we started talking about the coca?
Yes. Yes.
One of my favorite shirts of all time.
Now, we're sending.
Here's a hot take. You're going to invite Kevin Stevens over for that.
Ooh. Talk about hard-hitting. Talk about hard-hitting journalism. Oh man.
Ted,
Only
invest
I'm
your
just gonna ask the
gadget.
question No one else can. So
Remember him when he was with the Rangers, with the hookers and the the coke in the hotel room?
Yep. I
He
remember that.
couldn't just do
He
that.
knew
in
how to have a
Pittsburgh.
good.
You know, he couldn't just do that in
Time.
Pittsburgh. He has to wait till he becomes a Ranger to start doing stuff like that.
When in Rome.
Yeah.
I mean,
Listen,
Jeff Carter and
when
Mike
it-
Ritchie
right,
did
when
it
in
off
Rome,
the
it's the
court.
Big Apple.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Okay.
I mean, they were doing it in Philly. They did it in LA. I'm pretty sure they did it.
Just ask Matt Harvey.
I'm done. On that note, I'm done.
All right, I think it's a good time to wrap up. We thank everybody for joining us for this edition of the Hockey Happy Hour, filled with hookers and blow for everyone to enjoy. We will see you next week, and next week we will have a game to actually react 17th. The team that we will be watching the Flyers play against happens to be a show team. It gets to be the good old Anaheim Duckies. So, yeah, we will see that next week against the Flyer Rebels in their final meeting for their season series. That'll be next week. Until then, guys, you stay safe. Yeah. I wouldn't say automatic. This is still the Flyers after all.
No.
Anyway.
You're playing Anaheim. It's an automatic win. Congrats.
As long as we start Ersson, we'll be okay.
Second on that.
All right, ladies
You
and gentlemen.
You can start
We'll
my 9-year-old nephew and it'll be fine.
On A2DRadio.com. And we will we'll see what shenanigans will come up next week. There was a lot that came up this. Until then, peace and love. Have fun out there. Don't have too much fun like Richards and Stevens, but still have fun. We'll see you guys next week. Peace and love, everyone.
You get